Don't have a minute. You
Put
click
that
a
door
button
later.
and you go live. Problem solved. You never learn.
I've clicked it.
Have you? I don't see
You
it
said
still
to
being
click the need help button. I've clicked it, so we should be live.
Well, it's not live because you're useless again.
But I've done the thing. That button you told me to
I
press.
can
I've
see
pressed
you
it.
haven't done it properly again. For the 50th time, you haven't done it properly.
I'll
For
leave
the
you two
100th
to argue
time,
for a minute.
I have done it properly.
Mate, I'm going to send you to nursery to learn some computer skills because you're absolutely useless with them.
They can hear us.
I didn't have nursery when I was a kid.
See, they can hear us, but they can't see us because you're useless. You can't even click the correct button.
If I click the red button, that says end stream.
Well, let me click.
Do you know what? You just can't get the staff.
There we go. We're on.
Everybody sees us now because I did it correctly.
All right, bossy pants. The wife's in chat, so the enemy's here. Hey Tara. Hi Jade. Hey Critter Hey Andy. Hey Isabel. Hey Beardies. Hey Charlie. I think that's everybody. Hey Moon. Hey Lucy. I think that's everybody.
Hey Dave. Hey Nat.
Hey Dave. Hey Nat. Hey Phil. Hey Ben. Yeah, well, just quickly, Andy, when have you got Phil on your podcast?
He's on next Friday, actually.
This Friday?
No, not this Friday, the Friday following. So he's the 20... No, something of May. Something 1st of May. He's got the 1st of May.
Tell you what, you'll have a good evening with Phil.
Yeah, looking forward to that one, actually.
I've seen
Hey Ben, hi Alan, hey Bart.
Selling explicit things on online. Again.
What was that, Chris? Hey, Mikey.
I said, have you seen that Phil's been selling explicit things online?
Oh, yeah. He's been messaging people unsolicited, hasn't he?
Sorry, what did you say?
Unsolicited messages from Phil to random people.
Yeah.
Was that fake profile that got set up?
Yeah. Calling themselves Philip.
Trying to sell stuff with.
This is what I said with that one that I exposed. There's so much of it going on Facebook now. It's like, just save your money and buy from shows, or at least take 2 seconds to go and have a look at the reviews. And if all the people that reviewed it have no friends and stuff on Facebook, then it's obviously completely fake.
I just go to, if I can't go to the person and ask them myself, I don't want to know about it, if that makes sense. Unless they're recommended to me. If someone's recommended, great. But if someone comes to me and goes, oh, I've got this, would you like
Laura.
it? Questions start to arise.
Yeah. I think, me and Chris, really, it's just face-to-face or at the shows, and that's about it. Or unless I know the person, it's very rare I'll buy off like something random on Facebook. Hey, Mark.
I've never bought off Facebook, really. It's more, if I'm buying stuff, it's through the WhatsApp groups where people have got a presence and you can actually find out a bit about them first.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lie, I have bought from Facebook loads, but I always go, I'm going to pick them up.
Best way, again, because then worst case scenario, you lose a bit of fuel.
Yeah.
And,
cash on collection.
I suppose losing a bit of fuel nowadays is losing a lot of money.
Yeah, that's gone up a bit, hasn't it?
193 this morning in the
thankfully, I don't pay for my own fuel, so I'm quite happy. I get a fuel card with the company.
I get a fuel card. I will leave it like that.
No, it's worth its weight in gold, that.
I bet. Tesco club card points. You must rack up about 10 million each visit.
Oh, well, they've lowered the amount of points you get for your litres now, haven't they? Because it used to be a point per pound, and now it's a point per litre.
It was a point per pound, and now it's like you get half a point per pound, not half a point per 50p or something.
Yeah, it's bad. But then again, fuel's just a commodity that we need.
If they can make money from you, they will make money from you. Welcome to the government. But anyway, that's not what this evening is about. So hello to everybody in chat. If you've commented or not said hello to you personally, I apologise. I've just not seen your comments come through. Hey Osman, wow, he's paying £2.52.
Wow.
Over in Europe. If you want to put any questions to Andy, put them into the comments. If I don't see them, if I don't ask Andy the question, just keep putting it back in until I do clock it. Sometimes the comments can go quick, or sometimes I can just miss one. And no comments really are off bounds. I'll put anything to him. I don't really mind, knowing full well that when it's my turn on Andy's channel, I'll get
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
But I think myself, Andy, and Chris are all pretty much open books. So I think it's all good. Chris, then. Andy, how's your cup of tea?
It was worth it. It was good. There you go. First question out of the way.
Yorkshire tea all the way.
That's what I've just had. I had to after the picture with me with a teapot.
In a dirty mug, because if you clean it, it does not taste the same. I don't care what anybody says.
Its workshop mugs are exactly the same. You've got a workshop mug, you can see the layer of tea. You get less and less per drink.
Oh, mate, you should see the one I've got in the van.
I can only imagine.
I think next time I make a cup of tea and it might grow legs and just say, see ya.
Probably the best cup of tea you'll have of the day, though, isn't it?
Oh, the best. Yeah. It's one of them. 1 minute it's a tea, then the next one is a coffee, then I might have a tea again. But yeah, let's crack on. Andy, how did you get into animal keeping, and at what age were you?
Right. So I grew up with your normal sort of household pets, cat, dog, and then the extreme of my family had horses. So they competed and worked with them and all that. It wasn't for me. I stepped away from that. Always liked the exotic stuff, but it was about 6 or 7 years ago. So I was in my mid-30s when I got into exotics properly. My daughter, when she was 2, fell in love with a albino Burma. It's about 15 feet at a farm show. And it was constant, Dad, can we get a snake? Dad, can we get a snake? Dad, can we get a snake? And then we got a chameleon. So I had the chameleon first, then we got given her a corn snake, and then the rest is history, really. I've kept a bit of everything. The invert snakes, lizards. I've just gone from that, really.
How did you go from Dad, I want a snake to getting her a chameleon?
Well, I've always fancied a chameleon. And the local pet shop had one in as a rescue. And basically what had happened is it was a tattoo shop mascot, unfortunately. So it lived in a real shitty cage for most of his life, with a very poor decor, poor lighting, like fed on mealworms only. And the option came up and was like, well, yeah, stuff it, we'll go for it. So I got this chameleon called Diego, and I built him an enclosure out of an old wardrobe and had him in that. And then we had him for about 2 or 3 years, but obviously we didn't know his exact age when we got him. He was adult already. And yeah, had him for 2 or 3 years. And that was our introduction to exotic animals. And I bawled like a baby when he died.
I'm a bit weird. Yeah, same as sin section, same as. I'm a bit strange. I mean, we actually, well, we didn't rescue the chameleon. It was really well looked after, but we got it, and it lasted about 8 months with us before it passed away. But it was old,
yeah,
when we got it. But yeah, it is a shame they don't last a lot longer than.
No, I mean, Panther
3-4 years.
Panthers are 3 to 7. I mean, if you get a carpet chameleon, you're looking at about 18 months out of those things because they're so tiny. They're such small lifespan. I don't know what a parsons is, but I know they have a ridiculous gestational period. Because, I mean, the panther chameleon, if it lays an egg, you've got about 9 months from when the egg's laid until it hatches.
Oh.
And then you get this animal for 3-4 years, maybe a bit longer if you do really well with it. But that amount of time. Whereas, I mean, for example, hognose snake, you get about 15 years out of them. And from the egg being laid to it hatches, only about 60 or 70 days.
So really, you could be getting chameleons that are like dropping their eggs, and then literally within those 9 months could pass away because they don't live that long.
Yeah, basically. It's crazy, really.
And then what was the first snake?
Corn snake. We got given a 7 or 8 year old corn snake from someone who was going to university. Turned up, 3-foot viv, on wood chip with no thermostat, no proper lighting, just a heat bulb that they turned on as and when they thought the snake was cold, which was quite heartbreaking. So we put him into a 422 and gave everything, and still got him at the moment. He must be 12, 13 years old now.
I find it frustrating when you see things like that, but I always say, if anybody's ever watching and you want to rehome anything, just message any of us in the community. We don't pass judgment. We just do what's needed. But I mean, I think if you're going to get a snake, obviously research, but sometimes, like yourself, you just got given one, so you haven't got time to do the research. The research happens when it's in your care.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, wow, this happened today. Now what do I need to do?
The other thing is you can research, be as prepared as you think you're going to be. Unfortunately, you've got so many different angles you can look at it when you go online and search. You've got the Facebook groups, you've got Google. And how do you know all of that is up to date? So you might think you've got it right, and then learn 6 months later that you're doing it completely wrong. With all the advancements that are constantly coming within the hobbies.
But that changes anyway. Every 6 months to a year, things always change.
Yeah.
But if you're keeping that basic levels of care bang on, if something does change, at least you know it's been adequately cared for up until that point.
So, I mean, if you think, 20, 30 years ago, we were keeping, I'll use leopard geckos, for example, in a plastic phanarium with a heat mat.
Literally. And wood chippings.
Yeah. Whereas now we know that they need more space, they need more heat than we were ever giving them. It should be overhead. Even though they're a nocturnal animal, they do cryptic baths, so they do need the UV light available for them. And, I mean, there's so many different lights out there as well now, because you've got your LEDs, you've got your UVs, you've got your specialist stuff when you're looking at your Fornalux True Chromas, which are UVA1 specific. You've got your basking bulbs, but you've got different types of that as well. So you've got your infrared with your RS Golds, you've got your spot lamps, you've got the deep heat projectors, which, in my opinion, are no good for anything really. You've got CHEs.
I think that's everybody's opinion nowadays, and the heat rocks.
Yeah, heat rocks. I'd like to do a video with them one day and cook some bacon on one just to prove a point.
Yeah, this is what you do with a heat rock and just film it going in the bin. I would like to see, especially with the way my mind works, because when you look at lighting, there's so much to be thinking about and so much to be taken in. It'd be great if there was a company out there which would go, okay, so geckos go, let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say a gecko goes in a 4-foot viv. So they give you, or you buy, the light for a 4-foot viv that is specifically for geckos, which gives you the UV across the board, and then maybe a basking spot down one end as well. I think that would be pretty cool.
I think it's starting to get that way. It's starting to get that way better. But everything's changing at the moment. People are putting more care into husbandry and welfare of animals than they have done for a very long time. Regardless of what everything out there's hammering us all for, it is coming around a lot more than people realise.
I think that's down to things like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, because you want to be sharing your animals out there. And then the pressure is there then to make sure those animals are well looked after, adequate care and all the rest of it. You're posting your pictures to WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, and all the rest of it. And then other people then pick up on it. But I also see, somebody posting, let's say, a spider on this much substrate, and then people shout down their necks and things like that. I think that's got to stop.
It doesn't help anyone.
It's not as bad as it used to be. In the invert world, I know it still is in the reptile world. Would it be great if people would just take a step back and go, do you know what? When I had my first spider, I kept it in this much substrate, or when I had my first reptile, I didn't actually keep it quite right because I was still learning.
No, I agree with you completely there. The issue is when you start hammering someone for making a mistake, they just go get up and leave. They don't want to sit there and take the abuse. Yeah. So, say someone posted this Facebook group, here's a picture of my enclosure, and then, oh, you're doing it wrong. That's not the right size. This, that, and all the other crap that goes with it. That person then leaves the group. What have you done for that animal?
Nothing.
You signed its death warrant. And that's not the person who's keeping its fault at this point. Yes, they're getting it wrong, but it's the people who have hammered them, who they could have given the advice in a constructive way, have just sent them packing, and that animal's never going to get better care. So therefore, they are now the problem, not the person who made the mistake in the first place.
And I think it's easy to just turn around and say, you should have done your research. And I mean, I'm one of the people that will, one, look at YouTube videos, two, have a look on Google, three, go on arachno boards and stuff like that. But more importantly, I like to take information in by talking to other experienced keepers or keepers that specialise in that particular animal, and then ask them instead of do your research, go on Google. So I don't want to. I want to have that conversation. I want to talk to somebody. And I think there's quite a few people out there that prefer a conversation with somebody or asking the question as opposed to sitting there by themselves Googling, so they feel part of that community and take that information in a lot better.
I'm no expert on anything. And I will always stand by that, because if I'm an expert, it means I know everything. And no one can know anything. But if someone came to me and went, oh, you keep this, how are you doing it? I'd happily talk them through it and go, right, this is how I do it. This is what's worked for me. It might not necessarily be 100% accurate, but I've got animals producing. I've got animals thriving. So obviously I'm doing something right. I mean, I've just picked up a pair of wild-caught eyelash jumpers, because I don't see eyelash jumpers in the hobby enough as captive bred. And my daughter wanted one, and I thought when I was at the Inverts show in Taunton, and there weren't anything. And I thought, you know what? I'll pick up some. I'll try and produce them. My female's just laid an egg sac.
There's quite a few breeders of jumping spiders full stop in the hobby.
Eyelash ones,
probably not as, probably not.
And that's what got my interest. That's what piqued my interest on them. Because I could go and buy a jumping spider from anywhere, but the eyelash jumpers get that little bit bigger. They live that little bit longer, and I think they're a little bit more impressive and more personable with the way they act. So I felt it was something that I wanted to work with. Plus,
I mean, from experience and seeing what goes on, I think the eyelash jumpers is a great way to kind of introduce somebody to the spider world as well. Because if you show somebody a great big massive spider, first thing they're going to go is, what's that? And they never want to look at spiders, tarantulas, or inverts ever again. But something like an eyelash jumper has always got that, oh, wow, that's beautiful. And then you get the magic word, that's so cute. And then that's where the interest starts.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's finding gateway animals for people to come into it. Because no one is scared of, the only two things you're scared of are heights and there's another thing. drowning when you're born. Every other fear is learned.
Yep.
And if you've got a parent that freaks out at anything, you're going to learn to freak out at everything. Whereas if you've got a parent that goes, "Oh, it's a spider. Come on, let's go have a look at it. Let's pick it up. Let's have a play." Be gentle with it. Don't drop it. Don't squish it. Don't throw it. And explains it to the kids. They're going to then show a greater respect to everything as they grow up.
I think a great example of that is my little one, Noah. He's 6. So at his school, the teachers literally will freak out if they see spiders, which then creates a shockwave through the whole class. And Noah will get up and go over, pick it up and walk outside and put it outside somewhere safe.
Yeah.
And the other teachers in the school will now call for him if there's any spider. And he don't care. It could be a false widow or anything. He goes, picks it up, takes it outside.
No, false widows is the only one that I don't stand. It's open season on them in my house, purely because I had a P. Metallica and it had just molted, and unfortunately, a false widow ate the thing. So from that day forward, false widows became open season.
Just going back up to some of the questions. Pure says, "What's the thought on racks?" I think it's snake racks and things like that.
Right. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do have racks. I have some snakes. Now, racks have a place. I'm trying to move away from them. I don't agree with, say, people keeping retics in racks. I've got hog noses in racks. Now, my hog noses are in 33-litre bins. So these are probably bigger than some of the Viv spaces that people provide for them.
I was just about to say that, yeah. If you can provide a decent environment,
there is nothing wrong with
they
any
can
way
thrive
of keeping an animal as long as you do it properly.
Inside of that rack. But I think when you think about racks, you think of like Brian Bazarak, or whatever his name was, with big massive snakes. Literally, they're curled up inside the rub, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They can't move.
And this is the thing. Racks.
That's when people think about racks.
This is what people need to stop thinking about. I mean, I understand there are breeders out there who keep snakes in ridiculously small tubs with no substrate, no hides, just newspaper and a water bowl. But equally, I have seen some racks that have been done to a better standard than some people's vivariums who are going, "Oh, racks are horrible," but your Viv has nothing for that animal. So what's the difference? There was a study done a little while ago on racks versus Vivs, and they did it so it's a fully enriched Viv versus a completely bare rack. So you can't compare the two. You've got to compare as the same standard.
So I'll just read in the beard comments. Yes, it is essential for men probably to have a beard.
Exactly, you look like a Viking.
Yep. So that's that. I get what you're saying actually, because with racks, I mean, bigger. Let's say if you got a small rack, big snakes, like you always see on like the American YouTubers more than anything. It's like how restricting do you want to be? But if you look at the rub that the snake sits in as an enclosure, as opposed to it's a rack and start running away, I suppose then you can start thinking, well, actually, if you get it deep enough, there's room for substrate. If you give it big enough room, there's actually room for the snake to go off and do what it wants. And then you could even plant and I suppose you could do anything in them.
Exactly. I mean, as long as you work with the maximum that you can provide, there's no problem. I mean, all my tubs are clear. So they have the natural daylight cycle of the house as well. But I've also LED lit all my tubs. Now, I'd love to provide that UV, don't get me wrong. But to provide UV at the heights that racks provide would be detrimental to the animal's health. And, you know, it's an argument that's old as time, and it's one that neither side are ever going to win. If people want to breed snakes, racks serve a purpose. If the snakes are going to be, if people just want to hoard snakes, then no, completely against. Just to be able to say, oh, I've got 100 snakes, this is how. No, provide the best you can. So if you want to have animals not to breed, then have vivariums and have less.
I think that's the issue. It is like, I can get this rack system, and that means I can get 20 snakes into the same space as what I was keeping one in before. And it's like, well, you can, but you've got to reduce the size of the snake species that you're putting in there.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 9-foot dwarf retics. They never go in the tub. I mean, they need to go into bigger enclosures. They're in 6x2x2s at the moment. 90% of the time, they use maybe a foot square of it when they're coiled up. But at night, they will come out in the enclosure and get bigger. And I want to go bigger with those. And I will go bigger with those. But obviously, the snakes have grown, so now I need to provide bigger because they've grown. That's on me, that I've not been prepared at the time. But they don't. They're not crammed. They can fully stretch out with the side of with one leg to the side, if that makes sense. They've got height, they've got climbing, they've got all the lights available to them. They've got water bowls that they can fully submerge themselves in. It's all natural substrate in there. I grow moss and grass in the vivs with them. They've got clean-up crews of cockroaches and isopods running around in there with them as well.
Exactly like they would have anywhere else in the wild.
Because I mean, most people go, I've got a clean-up crew. It's some isopods and some wood lice. I like to put earthworms, cockroaches, grubs of different flower beetles and things like that in there as well, because it keeps the soil turning, which makes the plants last longer. I
suppose it also gives the animal a choice of food. So,
with lizards, yes. Snakes, not so much.
And obviously I'm going to think more about the spiders, but with spiders, I'd have thought, an earthworm crawling through the burrow, perfect time for a little munch.
Why not? Why not just? I mean, I've got a 45-30 that I've got adult female Mexican red knee in. That has isopods, cockroaches, occasional locusts. I don't keep crickets on the hole because they drive me nuts. So I use.
They can tend to. Well, they can bite tarantulas. That's the only, and spiders.
I've known baby geckos be devoured by them as well. So you've got a gecko one night and you haven't the next morning because the crickets have devoured it and people haven't realised they were in there with them.
And what do? They blame their own husbandry, blame their own keeping, get rid of the viv, and never think about keeping another lizard again.
Yeah, they don't make it better.
Okay, so Pure just says, for argument's sake, let's say about providing the best we can. If you had, say, 15 2-foot by 18 vivs with UVB and breeding less snakes, would that not be best we can provide rather than, say, the 30 tubs?
For argument's sake, it would depend, because if you're talking 2 foot by 18, are you talking floor space or with height here for a start? Because a 2 foot by 18 floor space would not be big enough for 90% of snakes out there. If you're working with hog noses or smaller breeds, then yes, floor space wise, that'd be fine. But you're also not taking into account height. So the UV needs to be around about 30 centimeters away from the back of the animal. Snakes are proven, unfortunately, that they don't need UV to survive. Tell me how many snakes you've come across in your entire life that have had MDB or MBD even, sorry. And I challenge you to answer that with one.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Whereas lizards suffer badly from it if they haven't got the UV. So metabolic bone disease, so where the bones get damaged from the lack of calcium and D3. Whereas snakes don't suffer with this. That has been proven to this point. Don't get me wrong, in 5 years' time, we might get a new study that says, yeah, they do suffer from it. But
is Phil still in chat? Because he'd have some input on that one, I think, just purely because he gets a lot of information like the general public don't, being in the zoo world.
Yeah, no, we had a conversation about this last week on the podcast with Damascus, who does the zoo lighting and stuff like that. And he couldn't answer knowing of a snake that had MBD. So that, to a certain degree, proves that UV isn't required. I'm not saying don't give snakes UV, because my royal python's in the 422, he's got UV. My corn snakes in the 422, they've got UV. My retic's got UV. So I'm not saying don't give them the UV.
Do you think that could be the difference between them, like literally surviving and thriving, though, that UV?
It's a difficult one because...
Has anybody done blood work on snakes? One, let's say, same species, one that's been had no UV and one that's had UV?
I don't know. Unfortunately... Oh, he has heard of a case. That's interesting. But no, unfortunately, a lot of the time, the only way they do the research on snakes is they will put them into the environment for a year.
Well, Andy, sorry, mate, because a lot of the people watching are literally just pure invert keepers.
Yeah.
Just quickly explain what MBD is.
MBD is metabolic bone disease that occurs primarily in lizards when they are not provided the right source of calcium and D3. It causes the bones to weaken and become flexible and bend.
You see the bow-legged shapes on the geckos, can't you?
Yeah. It's horrible. It is horrible, and it's all avoidable.
In fact, Can cured one of her geckos and then put all the information out there.
Yeah, I was quite impressed by that. And it's very rare that I mean, it doesn't cure what's happened, but it prevents it getting worse, if I remember correctly. Because she mentioned it on the podcast she was on with you, didn't she?
Yeah. She put out, like, she did a poster literally of everything that you do to help the animal. I was like, that was brilliant. It was a couple of years ago, but it does need pulling out the archives and spreading around again.
Because at the end of the day, you can improve their life after stuff like that. And it is down to mistakes and poor judgments and bad information that a lot of these animals end up that way. Because a lot of people don't realise UV tends to have a 12-month cycle on the T5s. So really, you should be replacing your T5 bulbs every 12 months. If you're still using T8, it's every 6 months.
Now, the T5s and the T8s, they're the round ones, aren't they?
Yes. The T8s are
they're not LEDs, are they?
No.
If I remember right. So it's the same as like the fish tank bulb type. Yeah, I'll go there. How about the LEDs? Is there LEDs that do UV?
There are, but they're not safe. They are not putting out the correct. So if you put a UV meter under it and you get a UVI reading, it'll give you the right UVI. If you read further into it, there has been a full study done on it. And at the moment, the diodes aren't producing the UV that is required for the animals to survive through it. So it's too much. It can cause injury, it can cause damage to the skin, it can cause burns, it causes them to synthesize things differently than they should be as well, as far as I'm aware.
Phil says in the zoos it's now a legal requirement to provide UV for all reptiles and the amphibians in zoos. Pure says, apologies for going a little off topic for the invert keep. You're not going off topic. I'm probably the only one in chat that doesn't know too much on the reptile sides, to be fair. But I think what Andy is trying to do, same as myself, is make one hobby called exotic pet keeping.
And that's why we chose Mad Exotics for the podcast channel, because if it was Mad Reptiles, everyone would go, oh, you're just talking about reptiles. But the reality is we're covering everything.
Would be interesting. I mean, there was Northern Exotics and myself were chatting about UV with inverts and stuff a fair few years ago now. I think Phil was in that conversation as well. Phil, was there any studies done on it? Because I think Northern Exotics, he was going to try and do something with the UV, but he ended up changing his channel over and he went off and did living in a van.
Fair enough.
But it would
be asked whether she missed the comment. Yes, the beard comment was made earlier.
What do your animals do for you, Andy?
Cost me a lot of money. But other than that, they just bring me a sense of achievement, if that makes sense. They're relaxing. So I work with lizards, I work with snakes, I work with inverts. I'm currently trying to get blue death feigning beetles going. Again, another constant wild caught supply of animal that shouldn't need to be wild caught. And if I can start producing them, then I'm on to something.
Producing to larvae isn't the issue. It's larvae to beetle, which is
exactly.
The issue.
And I mean, I've done a lot of research into that and looked into the way a lot of people do it.
With carrots.
It's not just that, it's incubating in bare tubs, or putting them into an incubator in bare tubs, minimum moisture once they go into the pupate stage, about 32 degrees, provided a food source. There's just so much to it, and it's something I want to achieve. I've got what else have I got? I've got the king assassins that I've just started working with. As I said about the jumpers, I've got some of the spiky.
The assassins used to be kept on sand, and they used to keep them on sand because then you could spray a little area of the enclosure and keep it damp, so it was easier to get the eggs out. When I had mine, what I found was about this much substrate. I put moss over the top, kept it all damp, and then I also gave them arboreal opportunities as well, because they do molt hanging upside down. But if you give them extra arboreal, they will go all over that enclosure. And what I also found with with assassins, full stop, is they do need fresh DNA to come into the community, otherwise they will crash.
No, I mean, I picked up 8. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way that they won't eat locusts by losing 2 of the 8. They avoided the locusts. The minute I put in dubias and crickets, they destroyed them.
Phil's just gone back to what we were saying earlier. It says, one very small limited study for general inverts. There should be a different paper being released at some point proving that providing UV for live feeds inverts done barely anything to raise D3 levels.
Okay, interesting. I look forward to reading that.
Since Section's had an issue with assassin bugs, what's the issue? Yeah, that would be. So there we go. So with live feeds for reptiles, best way to get calcium in and help D3 cycle is still to use dust.
Oh yeah, agree completely. I mean, I've got a colony of locusts that I'm working on getting breeding for live food, and they get fed all the natural greens, carrots, sweet potato, a little bit of fruit here and there, and they've got UV over them, and I find they do end up under it, but I don't use it to provide a better level of D3 for the animal. That's with cuttlebone and dusting that's done.
Paul's just asked, going back to the early conversation, what size was the PMET that got destroyed by the false widow?
It was probably about 1.5 inches across the legs. It was only little.
And for false widows to get into a collection, it's so easy.
It's ridiculous.
So easy. And very long.
You don't realise they're in there until it's too late. A bit like white, like the dwarf white isopods. Once you've got them, they're everywhere.
Pretty much.
They're one of those species that just take over.
Just go back up the comments, see if we've missed anything, or see if I've missed anything, sorry. 15-minute warning. In 15 minutes, we do swear. We do have a little conversation. I think we're up to date on the comments, to be honest.
That's fair.
How long have you been keeping the inverts for?
We're up to date. I'm watching.
Cheers, brother.
Inverts wise, probably about 4 years. So I went through a stage where I bought my first tarantula, brought it home. It was a Mexican red knee. The missus wasn't overly impressed because she said we'd never have spiders. She loves them now. But I ended up with quite a few. I mean, I don't know the Latin names. I'm going to be completely frank with everyone. I'm crap with English on a good day, so giving me Latin names, I've got no hope. But
you not watched my care videos? I butcher the names, but I put the name up on screen.
I don't even try half the time anymore. It's got to that point.
And
so I had the Mexican red knees. I've had scarlet bird eater, skeleton spider, flame tarantula, cobalt blue, and a few other bits and pieces. I've kept several scorpions. I've had a couple of stick insects. My daughter's got 9 species of cockroaches on the go at the moment.
Oh, awesome.
That's her little pet project. She is 12.
Awesome.
And she bought, we went to the Taunton show. She came back with a Old World, the unicorn horn baboon. Okay.
Rear horn.
Oh, no, the single central horn. Oh, it might be a rear horn. She knows it as the unicorn baboon.
Unicorn, yeah.
And
I think, are they Darlingi?
I believe so, but someone in the comments will know the answer to this. That came from Bug Nuts, and it was a female juvie.
I think it is Darlingi. There's a man in our hobby called Andrew Smith who's literally, he discovered the second pocket of Metallica in the wild, and he just loved tarantulas. And he's one of the BTS committee members as well. He's literally a spider god. And what he said about Latin names was, if you can't pronounce it properly, so I'm basically taking what he said, putting it in my own words. So let's say there's a species out there that you can't pronounce properly, Andy, and neither can I, but we're having a conversation about it. As long as you know and I know the spider that we're talking about, it doesn't actually matter.
No, I mean, you get a lot of people who get very up in arms about Latin names, not just in the inverts, in the reptile world and everything.
It's an issue in the invert. So when you first get into keeping, you go, oh yeah, I've got a bird-eating spider. None of them actively take birds out, as we know. But
yeah,
a bird-eating spider refers to about 50 different types of spider, about 50 different species of spider. So then you have to go, well, which one have you got? And it used to be the case of years ago, it was pet shops would sell them as a bird-eating spider. So you'd bring it home as a bird-eating spider. And then obviously as you progress, you find out it's an LP or a Goliath or a Theraposa or a Blondie, Apophysis, whatever it could be. But the problem with saying a common name with the inverts is the common name refers to 50 different species of spider or whatever it is. But they're from all different parts of the world. So different temperatures, different humidities, fossorial, arboreal, terrestrial / burrowing. They're all from all over the place. So you could end up setting it up incorrectly.
Although I agree.
With sin section, I've just had this comment all for a little while. I raised 10 to adulthood, then one decided to eat all the others. Sin, I try and start with about 10 or 15 adults. You want a big communal. People we tend to buy like 5 because they're cheap, and it doesn't always work out. You want quite a few in the enclosure. Sorry, Andy.
That's all right. I was going to say, it's when you're saying like the common name and all that, and it refers to what people don't realise. Again, with a lot of the lizards and the reptile species, if I say panther chameleon to you, I'll get you the panther chameleon. Oh, you'll get you the panther. You'll go and look up a panther. There are 37 different locales of panthers.
Exactly my point.
Ranging from coastal to mountain. So how do I know I'm setting that animal up right?
That's the point. And I don't want to say it's a problem, because if you say it's a problem, it's going to put people off, especially beginners and people that are new to the hobby. And when I first got into the hobby, it was a curlew. Yeah. It was a salmon pink. It wasn't scientific names. You don't really come across the scientific names too much when you first get into spiders. You delve a little bit deeper, and then you start seeing them. But I think when it comes down to care level, you really do need to know the species name.
So I breed 2 different types of hognose. So I've got Western hognoses and I've got tricolour hognoses. Now, one is American, more arid species. The other one is South American, more tropical species. Both different genuses. even though they've got the same common name of hognose. One is I can't pronounce the one for the Western, but then you've got the poulture, the Xenodon poulture, which is your tricolour hognose, which is completely different. It's a heterodon for the normal hognoses. Sorry, there we go. And they have completely different genes, completely different areas they come from, but they've got the same common name as the hognose.
Exactly.
And if you try and keep one like the other, you'll kill it.
Phil's just put it across pretty well. He says, I always say, look at the difference. We pronounce words in English across the UK. We still know what we're all talking about. So it's the same with the Latin, the Greek, and the other languages. So true.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That is very, very true. Plus, I mean, you're learning Latin names from like when you're 3, well, from when you're 4 or 5 years old. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I guess so.
Pterodactyl. You're not looking at a common name for them because we didn't give them one. So we're literally going straight in for
I guess the way I've always seen that is I've always thought of them as that being their common name. But now you put it like that, it's a fair point.
So we're already in the hobby. We're already halfway there because you know your dinosaurs.
To be fair, I don't know them that well either.
Oh, my lad does. He's always telling me about it, and I'm like, I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, my youngest daughter's exactly the same. So she's absolutely obsessed with stuff like that, and she learns the names, and she has to know them. And you can point a picture of a dinosaur, I'd have no idea, and she go, "Oh, that's a whatever it is."
Alan says one of the annoyances with scientific names is that they are forever changing. This is true, but it's just more advancement in the world of animals because the scientists are discovering that we've put it in the wrong genus and it needs to go into another genus or it needs a whole new genus. And it's a bit crazy, but I suppose Alan knows the common names too well because he works with aquatics.
Yeah.
So, every other fish, goldfish. Is that a goldfish? That's a goldfish. That's a goldfish.
It's a tetra.
Tetras, yeah, they're all tetras. If it's small, they're all tetras. We have got 7 minutes until 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock on this channel is when we have our watershed. So we do swear, we do have our conversation, and it is marked by Chris literally calling me every name under the sun. So be warned and don't have your kids anywhere near the TV or whatever you're watching on it at that time.
You have been warned.
I still think the best name I nearly swore then because he's Osmeister. I can't even go to pronounce that.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
Oh, we got it, won't we? Spinosatibia Spinolopalpus.
What he said.
Yeah. I mean, Osmeisters, he's not from the UK, but he can still pronounce it better than me.
Yeah. I think you find that the Europeans do pronounce the Latin names better than us English.
Because they're better speaking.
They're used to.
I mean, Chris is Latvian. He speaks about 8 or 9 different languages. I'm English and I speak one. It's ridiculous, really.
I'm English and I might speak one, depending on how good the day's going.
So you're European, when it comes to linguistics, they're already there because they already speak more than one language.
No, exactly.
It is absolutely missing in the UK. We've got 5 minutes to go. So before the watershed, Andy. So what's been your biggest mistake in animal keeping, full stop, so far? Because we all make the mistakes. I think it's really important to highlight.
I've got one that I made with my first chameleon. And I will forever hold myself to account for this one. I put the wrong strength UV over this animal, not understanding the way that UV worked, thinking I was doing the right thing, and unfortunately created skin cancer on the animal. He ended up having to have surgery and having lumps removed from his skin because of my mistake. And it probably did shorten his lifespan, unfortunately. I'd say that was probably one of my most horrendous mistakes. by not understanding what I was doing fully, and the information, not having the information fully provided at the time or anywhere to really go for it. I didn't know any better. But I still hold myself completely accountable for that because I did it, if that makes sense. Even though I didn't know I was making a mistake at the time, which is what mistakes tend to be, that you don't know you're making those mistakes. That was probably one of the worst ones I have made.
That's fair enough. I think it's really important to talk about mistakes because, again, you know, if you make a mistake and you post it to Facebook, it's easy to get shut down in seconds and pushed out of the hobby. So I think it's really important to highlight the mistakes people that have been keeping exotics for a long time kind of make as well, or have made in the past.
Well, I had an incident last week that I put two king snakes together. And I watched them for a couple of minutes, went, okay, they've been fine before. I went back 10 minutes later and she was trying to eat the male. King snakes are snake eaters. It's in the name. Anything with king in the name, snake-wise, will probably eat other snakes. And I then had to wrestle her off of him. Now, I wouldn't call that a mistake, but what it could have been is as simple as when I picked him up to put him in with her, I hadn't washed my hands and I handled another animal before and the scent got across.
Oh, she's picked.
Yeah, it could be that simple.
Alan says with the customers, he works in a huge aquatic shop, Wharf Aquatics. Have you ever heard of them ones?
I have.
Brilliant place. Yes. He says, I always try to say to customers, mistakes can be healthy if you learn from them. It's from mistakes that we have collectively progressed.
Oh, exactly. The hobby wouldn't be where it is if people hadn't made mistakes along the way.
I mean, I suppose all the invert keepers that have tried to breed spiders have had a male eaten because we've not been quick enough with a paintbrush. And you can't be quick enough with a paintbrush until you've experienced a male eating, so you know how to be on guard, ready for the next time.
And the thing
Paul
is,
says I used taxonomic names from the beginning as I realised it was the only unique identifier, so might as well start there. If not, you have to learn the common and then all the scientific. It's still a good idea to learn the common as well as, again, because when new people come into the hobby, you can support them further.
No, mistakes are just something that goes with the territory. But I mean, I'm a HGV mechanic. You work in hydraulics, don't you, Scott?
Yep.
How many mistakes have you made at work where you've not clamped that ferrule enough? Especially when you started.
When I started, I was under supervision, so probably once or twice.
But you learned from doing that.
The ferrule is something that if you don't get it correct, the hose blows off, it can kill somebody. So the industry standard is when the ferrule goes on, paint pen around the edge so you can see if it's moved during the process. And once it's finished, you put another line. And this is like legally you have to do this because it's your BFPA training. And then you put a line to say that you've checked it. And then I've got a set of verniers to make sure it's crimped down perfectly. What I've done in the past is missed off a clamp. And then the forklift's gone up and all the hoses come flying off.
You know how many mistakes he's done? He's done shitloads of fucking mistakes. He's fucking useless piece of fucking shit. Ugly fucking ginger cunt. Fucking twat who can't fucking even read.
Pleasure to meet you, Chris.
A fucking stupid fucking bolt. Fucking ugly cunt.
So Chris can't talk until 9 o'clock.
Fucking mistakes. He does mistakes every fucking day.
It's got to be a European thing because I don't think any European I've ever met could speak without swearing.
That's a fucking bullshit. We can't speak without swearing.
Prove it. Do the next half hour without swearing, Chris.
I just fucking did an hour. I just fucking did an hour.
You did it without speaking. You did it without speaking. Now do speaking without swearing.
Donna says, fluffed up and had myself plastered all over TikTok. Hard to go live as a person. Could have just explained instead of taking the piss. 100%.
Yeah. People just
that is the problem. I hardly ever go on TikTok because of the crap that's on there nowadays. I much prefer YouTube because it's more forgiving.
No, I agree with you. You don't get as much of the chances on YouTube as you do on TikTok. You see it on TikTok when people go live, you get all the people who try to bait the people who are doing it.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas on YouTube, you don't get that as much.
No, it's a shame, really, because I know Donna's intentions would have been from the heart, like.
Yeah, agreed.
And she doesn't put herself on a kind of a pedestal or anything like that either. So for her to get slated for probably a tiny mistake is just disgusting.
But I bet none of those people have ever kept anything like the mistakes she made.
No.
Most of the people who call you out are the ones who have never had an experience in that area.
I think it's frustrating, really, that there's not enough people out there to be kind of monitoring TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, for that type of stuff. But I doubt it ever will.
Osman, you're lying. Get you swear as well. Sorry.
Who?
Osman.
Me?
No, Osman.
I've heard Osman swear.
He said, "For fuck's sake, how did I get pulled into this?"
I've heard Osman swear.
It's a Latvian thing, Donna. It's not fucking Latvian. It's a fucking new thing as well.
The Scots are the worst for it.
Yeah,
TikTok is awful.
I completely agree. Scott is the fucking worst. He's fucking useless.
What, for swearing?
No, you just in general fucking useless.
Oh, I swear like a trooper. But I mean, I'll go into a factory and you got somebody like Chris who I'm talking to. Then I'll be in a building site and somebody telling me how their fucking machine's fucking leaking fucking oil fucking everywhere, and I'm like, all right, mate. You just pick it up.
Yeah,
to the point.
It becomes you become numb to it, don't you?
Oh, completely, and it's just normal. So, like, I mean, the other week I swore around my mum, so she twatted me around the back of the head. And then, you got a 6 and 7 year old in the house, and I'm like, Fubar. That's the one. Fubar. Question for Andy. If you had to strip, oh my God. If you had to strip your collection back to just a single animal, what would it be and why?
It would be my hog noses, because they were my first snake that I properly got into. So I like smaller breeds of animals just because I feel that it's more responsible working with them than it is the larger breeds of things. So if you, for like example, the hog noses, a female hog nose will hit a tops of maybe 3 foot. A male tends to top out between a foot 18 inches. That is achievable for everyone to be able to keep. And that's probably why if I had to strip everything back, that's what I'd stick to. Because at the end of the day, not everyone has space for a 9-foot python, but 90% of the country has space for a 2-3 foot snake.
Just quickly, while I remember why there's still people in here, because the last hour, people tend to drop off. If somebody wants to get in contact with you, Andy, how do they go about it?
Right, you've
Chris
got
is
two.
Remember for 50 months, mate.
You've got 2 methods. So obviously, I do the Mad Exotics podcast, so you can find us at Mad Exotics on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. We have a Mad Exotics Community Space Facebook group as well, where we're trying to build a collection of wide keepers. You can also find me at the Critters Den, which I run with my partner, which is our breeding side where we do our snakes and inverts and things like hobby-wise. I mean, there's a few different things I'm working with because it's something I want to achieve rather than just breeding for the sake of breeding.
I've just pinned the Facebook group.
Fair play to you. But yeah,
so if all you head into the Facebook group, you'll be able to find Andy's links from there. What's the long-term goal with not only the breeding but the Facebook group, the YouTube?
Right, so I've got 2 long-term goals. One for the Mad Exotics and one for the Critters Den. Now, the Critters Den was built off my daughter's love for the hobby. And she ideally wants to train into exotic veterinary, and she wants to have her own zoo type facility when she gets older. And that's been her dream since she was about 4 or 5 years old. She's now 12, and that's not faltered. That's still what she wants to do. So you're a parent as well, Scott. You'll understand this, that you do what you can to provide the future your children want. So that's how that came about. And that's the long-term goal with the Critters Den, is to build that into what my daughter wants to make her career in her life.
Click any of the links OC Tarantulas has put into the comments, and that will take you straight over to Andy's socials. Nice one, Osman, as well. Appreciate that.
And then Mad Exotics, it is building a unified hobby where we don't just sit on the outskirts, where you haven't got your inverts, your reptiles, your mammals, your aquatics, your avian, all in their little separate camps with their sub-camps. It's somewhere where the central part of the hobby can grow and come together, leaving the left and the right wing far out. Oh, you're an arsehole, you fuck this up, you can't
carry arguing with each other.
They can stay over there. And the idea is we're never going to get rid of them. We know that full well. But if we can get that percentage down small enough that the centre takes over, and
so you can just go.
Yeah, and people start going, well, you know what? I can openly discuss this. I can ask these questions. Or what should I be feeding my animal? I've been told this, but what would be better? Oh, go and do your research. That doesn't need to exist. It could be, well, this is what works for me. This is what hasn't worked for me. But try this with your animal and see where it goes, rather than, why didn't you know that before you got the animal? Because we're not here to bully each other. Bullying, everyone that went through it at schools in some way or another, whether they were the bully or the bullied or whether their friends went through it. We didn't stand for it then. Why do we let people do it now? You see it on the internet. It's like, oh, I'm not going to get involved. Oh, someone said that. Well, I'm not going to sit there. But it's the same fucking principle. If someone's being a cunt, call them out for being a cunt.
It depends, because I mean, obviously get a lot of messages going, oh, this person's doing this, you know, they should be banned from this group, that group, from WhatsApp and this and other. And I'm like, well, I need to know both sides of the story.
Yeah.
I don't just do it. And a lot of the time you don't hear the full story as well. You hear the opinion of somebody about the story, not the actual factual story. And it's the same with like on Facebook. It's like one person says anything. So, you know, I once got told by somebody who had an issue with me just purely because I did YouTube and stuff like that. He says, "Oh, I'll say this on Facebook pages and this, that, and t'other." It was the same person that really annoyed a really good friend of mine, Chris's Ellie. And he said to me, he said, "Yeah, but there's no smoke without fire." So people believe it. I told him to go fuck himself and just blocked him. So carry on, mate.
The thing is, with everything, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, their side, and the truth.
100%.
Because what I perceive as being the true story, say me and you had a fallout, you perceive something else as your side of the story, and then what actually happened in the middle might be completely different to what we both think went on.
Yeah.
And this is where everyone gets it wrong. Everyone is too quick to judge. But there is no space for that activity in the hobby. If someone's doing something wrong, address it. If they make the changes, they're there to do the best for the welfare of the animal. Or
but this is exactly it. You can address that person by dropping a Facebook message, a TikTok message, an Instagram message. You don't have to put it in the comments and be a knob about it. Just literally just drop them a message. Don't say something like you're a fucking dickhead because you're keeping it this, because like we were talking about earlier, they will not listen and carry on doing what they're doing.
You've just signed the death warrant on that animal.
Such a nice way.
At the end of the day, you might think you're being clever by calling them out in a public forum, but the reality is it's not them you're damaging, it's the animal. So stop acting like you're high and mighty and look after the animal.
It also stops other people from sharing pictures because they think, if I share this picture, is somebody going to come down my throat like that?
Yeah. I mean, I've had people attack me for things I've posted before. And so be it. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I can't stop them. but I don't have to take offence to it. I don't have to worry about it. I can just get up, close my phone, close my laptop, walk away. That's their problem. Why let it sit on me? This was a conversation we had Paul's monitors on our podcast last week. And it's something he said was that if you respond, that's now your issue.
You own it.
Yeah. Whereas if you don't, and you don't give them the satisfaction, that's still owned by them, and you don't have anything to worry about.
Only the admins in the chat can drop links in that are clickable and work. Sorry, Pimps. But I mean, it's true. I mean, me and Chris have got an exceptionally close friend, and if we'd had listened to the gossip, they wouldn't be our close friend now.
No.
And me and Chris literally looked through all the evidence and went, "This is just people's opinions." And now that close friend is absolutely amazing in what they do.
But people always go after the ones that are best, if that makes sense.
Best
They're
with the
jealous.
vulnerable.
People are sheep and they follow the herd.
Exactly. They always will do, unfortunately. And if someone turns around and goes, this is the way to do it, and 2 or 3 other people go, yeah, that's the way they do it, that's the way we're going to do it, all of a sudden that's gospel on how it should be done.
I've had comments on videos in the past going, this person does it this way. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but I've done it this way. It was twice as fast, and we've both got to the same conclusion. Or I've had to turn around and say, well, yes, that way they were doing it is how you do it 10 years ago, but it has changed, and the keeping standards have changed.
But it goes back to what we said about like leopard geckos earlier with that. If we were still doing it the way it was done 20, 30 years ago, we'd have plastic planariums with fucking heat mats.
Yeah. Well, look at spiders. They used to be kept on wood chip.
Yeah. Wood chip's not good for anything, in my opinion.
No.
Right, beautiful people. I will have to leave you to it. I'm gonna have to disappear. I mean, one beautiful people, and there's obviously beautiful chat, and that ugly ginger cunt down there.
Chris, before you disappear, are you at London show?
Yes, I am.
With Chris and Lingzu on wheels?
Yeah. I'm at every show, man. Every show.
Are you taking all the 3D printed stuff, spiders, all sorts?
Lots of new shit as well, so.
New shit?
Put out. Yeah. Night, everyone. And
Catch you later, Chris.
Scott's ugly cunt anyway. And make sure you remind him that every 20 minutes that he's fucking... Look, that beard is fucking fake and everybody fucking knows it.
Yeah,
I know the glue you use because I fucking make it for you. You know, fucking small
we don't need to know where you get the glue from.
No, you don't need to know how I make it.
No, we just everyone's now got a mental image.
Everybody knows that anyway. Anyway, have a fun live. I'm sorry, but I really have to go. So, yeah, you.
No worries, Chris.
And I'll rewatch it tomorrow.
All right. See you Monday. Hey, Amy. Hey, Dave. Dave's little beast is as.
Hello, Dave. Amy, was it?
Yeah.
You see, I just see usernames half the time. I don't know who half the people are. Sorry, people. It's nothing personal.
It's great because you know these names, but unless you know them personally, it can get a bit weird because somebody will come up to you at a show and go, "Oh, hi, Scott," blah 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 blah, and then they tell you what their name is, and you're thinking, "I'm still a bit. Who is this?"
What's
and then they tell you their YouTube name, and then it's like, "Now I know."
Yeah.
I know.
No, I get that. I've got all this to come at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, Dave's another one. He keeps everything, and has kept everything over the years.
I'd love to get Dave onto our podcast at some point. Whether he'll agree to it or not, I don't know. But that's a conversation for me and him to have at some point.
Yeah, it's great because if you do get a Dave on he can go back years. So the difference in keeping across the years with zookeeping, reptile keeping, invert keeping, he can literally travel through the whole time.
And that would be really interesting, looking at the way that it has changed and improved over the time, which is something a lot of people don't take into account when they start up. They say you join the hobby today, oh, this is how it's done. And then it gets better 5 years from now. Oh, that's how it was 5 years. We're not thinking about how it was 10, 15 years ago from now.
No, but it's all history. It's all part of the animal keeping.
Exactly. No one knew everything, and no one knows everything. And they're coming across new species daily still. That shows how great the world really is.
Yeah, Dave, you haven't been on the comments or on the live for a long time. I hope you're keeping well. Chris going mental at 9 p.m. Yeah, you missed that bit.
He only lasted 15 minutes, though, bless him. I hope he gives his missus a better time.
Chris, he's got a bit going on. Because we've got the London show coming up, and he's got his 12 printers going, and he's got one hell of a amount of spiders to feed up.
Fair play to him. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. Maybe one day, but I mean, I'm thinking of doing more with inverts at the moment.
It will happen.
I'm getting there, slowly but surely growing.
It will happen. When I got into the spiders, I won't mention too much because we've got our podcast to do. But
yes,
when I got into the spiders, we started off with like X amount, and the wife said, "Yeah, no more." And then I went up to another amount, and she said, "No more." And now it's just like it's got to the point where she goes, "Well, I want one of these," and I go, "Oh, that's expensive." And she was like, "Yeah, but it's nothing to compare to what you would spend at a show, is it?" And I'm like, "Okay, you can get it."
Yeah, we'll just leave that argument where that one is. We'll just stop there. I mean, it's like I messaged you during the week. I really fancy one of those millipede eating centipedes, but until I can set up a steady form of food breeding at home for them, it's not worth it because the amount it would cost to keep that going just isn't worth it.
I do think there is some inverts like that where the seller should really go, "Can you show me your breeding setup of millipedes for this species?"
Assassin bugs, the millipede eating assassin bugs. There was someone came up to one of the groups I was on recently and went, anyone got millipedes? I need millipedes for you should have that ready before you get that animal. Especially when they cost the amount they do. I mean, those millipede eating centipedes are what, 200-300 quid each? You're going to drop 200-300 quid on an invert. You need to know what you're doing first. You're not just, I mean, a 50 quid spider, and I mean this in the nicest way because I know I'm in an invert group here. You can muddle your way through and get food for because there are options out there. But when you're spending money on more specialist stuff, it's the reason I won't buy egg-eating snakes to breed. Because I can't get a steady supply of finch eggs for when the babies come through. I can't responsibly breed them knowing I haven't got a food source lined up.
Yeah, Claire's just put that like shocking place for the millipedes. But we feed roaches and to inverts. You know, we eat chicken and all the rest of it. It's all part of that nature cycle. And I mean, I'm really lucky. I've got a bit of ADHD going on and stuff like that. So my emotions, I can just turn them off. I don't get attached to any of the live food whatsoever. It's the same with the spiders. I don't get attached to them as a pet as such because obviously, you know, you set them up and you don't touch them. You don't mess about with them. You just set them up and leave them to do their own thing. I do obviously love them. It's a bit of a weird situation, but yeah, you've got to kind of look at those millipedes and go, "You're not cute. You're not millipedes as like pet millipedes. You are live feed."
Well, the other thing is like the millipede eating centipedes. They're from Borneo. Now, in my opinion, if you've got a wild caught centipede, you need to try and get the food that they would have come up on. So you then need to have a feeding supply of their natural prey. So you could go and buy yourself some Burmese millipedes and breed them because they go 10 to the dozen. But that's not what they'd be eating naturally. And that's the different level of when you get to keeping, is taking on what they'd eat where they're from, not just, that's a feeder.
But if you're going to look at that position and that stance, then whatever animal you keep, the substrate has to be exactly the same as it is in the wild, and so does the plant.
And where you can, you should, in my opinion. I mean, I've got animals set up that...
Oh, my God, that's a zoo.
As much as I can, they're as natural to what they be. So I had some satanic leaf-tail geckos. And for the cleanup crew, I was trying to find Madagascan isopods. Believe it or not, there are not Madagascar isopods in the hobby that I could find. But that's the level I was going to, was trying to find even the cleanup crew from their locale. What did Phil put?
Hold on 1 second then. Where is he? Madagascan isopods in the hobby. No. One of the pod breeders was in chat a minute ago, actually.
I was talking to Nicole Louise about them.
I've just dropped Post Pods a quick message.
He's on the podcast in a few weeks.
Dan?
Yep.
Generally, yes. Good friend of mine. Really good friend.
He's double. There's two of them coming on. Who have I got? I've got Dan and...
Only Pods. Juice.
No, Post Pods at the Bug Room UK.
Oh, the Bug Room.
Yeah.
One guy from Europe recently got some in, I believe, but none available over here as far as you know.
That's what I mean. That's how difficult. But that's the level I go to when I'm looking at setting up some of my animals. Just going to Sin Section's comment on quail eggs. They're too big for egg-eating snake hatchlings. I mean, some people even start them off on giant African land snail eggs. That's how small those are. So that, or you have to syringe feed them until they get big enough. And that isn't, to me, giving them the ability to thrive.
What's been your greatest success with the exotic animal keeping so far?
Well, this week I produced one of my goal animals through my hog noses, which was a great success. Started trying last year. I got one out of the clutch that hatched how I wanted it. Now, obviously, you guys in the invert world don't get the morphs like we do in the reptile world. You don't get but we do get locales. Yeah. Locales and morphs are very, very, very different things. So locales are bloodlines, whereas morphs are genetic traits. So with a morph, you're producing a visual genetic trait. So they're all the same snake from all the same area, in theory. But some of them produce different colours and colorations and variation of those colorations depending on the morphs.
Is that like the only thing I could relate it to would be like humans?
Yeah, it's basically breeding the
one person could be blonde. Yeah, exactly.
And it's the mixture of the genetics to
or
produce.
Is it like the blue eye colour, which is literally a genetic mutation?
To a certain degree, yeah, because you're working with recessive and dominant genes. So you've got your dominant and co-dominant. So your dominant is a gene that will come through or it won't. You can't have a heterocytus which is carrying the gene 4. Co-dominant is the reaction of two of the dominants together. And then you get your recessives, which you require 2 of that gene in order to produce the visual. So one could be a visual, one could be heterocytus carrying what. So you need 2 combinations of the gene. this steak has one combination, this steak has two. And then when you breed them, some come out with the two and some come out with the one because of the way the genes transfer. It's a rabbit hole that I think we did another 4.5, 5 hours to go through. So if you want to look up genetics,
no, because it'll frag my brain. Just quickly though, because I suppose the most famous dodgy morph in the world is obviously the spider morph. How did that come about? And why is it so bad? Very briefly.
Morph, there's a couple of others that are just as bad that aren't spoken about. I'll put that out there first. Now, spider's the most known. I'm not 100% sure how it came about, but a lot of these morphs are accidental. So by breeding, then you go, oh, this one looks different. Let's see where that goes, and then work on from that. Like albinism. Albino is just a trait that comes up every now and then. If you put two albino people together, odds are their children are more likely to be albino. And that's how a lot of the morphs came about. They're accidental. It's when people start.
So you find two animals with the same morph and separate them and get them to breed in the hope that the babies will carry on with the same morph.
In theory, they carry the gene, and you put the babies together to produce the visual to prove out, if that makes sense.
But would you breed the brother and the sister?
You can probably get away with doing it once, maybe twice, but this is where a lot of the problem comes with the reptile world, is with the inbreeding, which is something that doesn't seem to be such a problem in the invert world. I'm not 100% sure on this, but because we don't know how inverts completely work. And I'd like to know a bit more about that. But some people will say breed snakes and then put the baby back to the mum to prove out something. But in reality, after you've done that, you need to cross out the bloodlines. So otherwise this is where you get deformities like bug eye and things like that.
So Dan says genes can only enter a species through mutation. But the interbreeding with spiders. So female of any species will mature years later than a male, and the male is generally dead and gone by the time that the sister is mature. So that's one indication to say that you should never never attempt it. But the other issue is, I've got a friend whose dad was the first guy to bring the blondies into the UK, and he says with the blondies, you can tell the difference, the ones that have been captive bred over the years and the ones that are wild caught. And I went, how? And he said the ones that have captive bred are a lot smaller than the wild caught ones. So it is affecting them. We do need to be
aware of it. No,
aware of it and understanding the need for wild caught into the hobby, but obviously not in excessive numbers. Not in numbers that.
Wild caught is something that always causes an argument, so I'm sure you're very, very aware of this. In my opinion, wild caught is a necessary evil.
Yep, 100%.
I mean, royal pythons, I don't see a need for wild caught, really. There's that many of them, that many bloodlines now. But something that isn't commonly available, odds are, if I bought one, you bought one, then we go, oh, we're going to breed those, and we go buy the opposite sex. Odds are,
the same
yeah. And then if they're not, I then sell you one, you sell me one. They're probably still carrying identical DNA, even though it's been watered down a little bit.
Exactly.
So there is a need for wild caught, but not in the pet trade always, in the breeding pool more than anything.
But I mean, I've had this conversation before, but it's at that point you go, well, which breeders in the UK should have, or let's use that word, who deserve to have the wild caught?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that. If you've got predominant breed, say you've got one breeder who predominantly produces animal X, and that is their goal animal, they should have the fresh bloodline realistically, because they're producing that animal in vast quantities anyway. Whereas James down the road who's gone, oh, I've just picked up this female. I know I'll get myself a wild caught male. I'm going to produce the one, so that I might sell their babies off to the shop once I've worked out how to keep maybe 3 of them alive. Then so be it. But you're never going to be able to completely control who should have the wild caught and who shouldn't. And also, it's relying on people telling you the truth as well.
So many people have said, "Oh, none of my spiders, for instance, are wild caught," and I'm like, probably 60% of what you got's wild caught. It's up to you as a buyer to be asking the question to the seller: are these wild caught? Yes or no? And it's up to the seller to tell people the truth. And that's not always going to happen if they think they can make a tenner by saying captive bred. Phil just said wild caught, if done sustainably, can be a positive for conservation as well as.
But it's also getting people to put their animals back in for conservation.
There you go. 40 years ago, so this is what me and Dave can really go into the history. Wild caught royals were 5+ feet long and heavy. You don't see anything like that now.
No, and it's again the captive dwarfism.
Yep.
It's not. I'm completely honest. My jumping spiders, my eyelash jumpers, are wild. I am completely honest about that, and I knew they were wild caught because that was the only way I could get my hands on them.
Yeah, but you're breeding them.
Exactly, that will produce F1 babies.
So one, they're brought into the country legally, and 2, you haven't bought the female and gone, it's wild caught female, it's just going to sit here all its life and never have any babies.
No.
So what you've done is brought 2 together and literally are going to produce God knows how many once she's paired.
Oh, exactly. Well, she's sitting on an egg sac now. So I'll probably at some point pick myself up another pair of wild caught, hold some babies back from this one, and then hold babies back from the other one, and then produce off of those.
Dan's made a real good point. I bought wild caught curly hairs, even though they're one of the most common spiders out there, because he didn't want the hybrids. So over the years, people have bred similar looking spiders together, again, just purely for this.
Yeah.
There is very ethical sellers out there who can tell the difference just by looking at them. So like Dave's stand would never have any hybrids. Luke's stand, Spar Spiders, would never have any hybrids because they're experienced, so they know what they're looking at.
But you could show me 2 spiders exactly the same, and I wouldn't know. I personally wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I was chatting to Tim Baxter, Just Scorpions, and Geoscorps about the scorpions and the crossbreeding and things like that, and he says some of the scorpions you are counting hairs on the back of them with a microscope to tell the difference between the 2 species.
And that's crazy.
I was like, wow. I went, to be honest, I said, the only way I'd know that is if you sold it me, and then you sold me another one that looked the same but was named differently. So what this does, it comes down to the sellers that when they do wild imports, to be correctly identifying them, not just going on the person that's found them, packaged them and sent them over, but to be identifying them correctly themselves as well.
But we get that with lizards. I know that there was an import a few years ago where they weren't able to quite meet what was meant to be coming in, so they just shoved anything in the bag. Now, that's down on the person who's provided them, not the person who imported them, but that's then gone through customs where these people are meant to know what they're checking and they don't know. And that's now come to the pet shop who has the wrong animal to the paperwork as well. Now, unfortunately, what are they going to do? They've got to move those animals on.
Border Force know a bit more because they've just stopped 400 spiders coming into the country. Arachnospace, great point. Thing is, there's also a lot of overbreeding by people just looking to make the money, 100%.
And that brings, what people forget is by overproducing, you're bringing the money down. Because if I go to a table that's got 100 of that and 1 of that, and that 1 is the one I'm after, I'll pay more for that than I would for 1 of the 100 that they've overproduced.
Mikey says Scallop Pendula seems to be another that majorly wild caught. There's not many people breeding them at all. When they are bred, they tend to be coming already gravid. But it's sexing the centipedes is such a risky thing.
You've got to basically kill them to sex them.
You have, you got to either drown them or knock them out with one of the gases, and then squeeze their internals out, their sexual organs out. And it's obviously going to be really stressful for the centipede, and not everybody's up for doing it. I'm just catching up with the comments. Where are we? Down a bit. I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to scroll it down so I can get to the next one. There we go. Dave said, the truth is the hobby is made up of far more wild caught than captive bred. And again, that comes down to the sellers being honest.
Yeah. And
that's why we all want the bigger adults. We all want bigger adults. But if you go to somebody like Dave, like Luke, like Phil, they've got the smaller ones and go, I've grown that from a sling. 100% you're going to know that is not wild caught because they have bred it and grown it on. Graham from the Buggery as well.
This is the thing. A lot of people don't care. I don't mean that horribly. It's the people who are starting out don't understand about the wild caught captive bred stuff completely, so they don't care that they're buying something that's wild caught because they don't see the problem at that point.
Phil says some fruit beetles' only way to tell the species is to dissect and look at the gonads under a microscope. Wow.
Yeah, that's just mad.
Osmond's Scolopendria mutilans is offspring of a pair that Jeremy bred. Got tiny peeling now. She's 6 7 inches.
I've got a wild caught mint leg that I picked up from Spider Shop. That's going to be about 8 or 9 inches.
It would be fantastic to see centipedes being bred.
It's on the chart of something I'd like to do, but I need to learn a lot more about them before I'd even brave that. I do talk to Johnny Venom occasionally because I'd like to one day be able to handle my centipede, which I know scares a lot of people.
No. 100% no. 100% against you on that one.
It's just that's just a personal opinion.
It's for me, handling is, and I apologise if I offend, but for me, handling and taking pictures and putting them on YouTube or Facebook is, I'm Johnny Bollocks, look at me. The negative impact that has is simple. So my 6-year-old goes on YouTube, sees somebody handling a centipede and goes, oh, I can go pick daddy's up. The next minute I know he's in hospital and my wife has killed my whole collection or sold it off. It goes local news, then one of the bigger news people find it, then it goes all over the UK, and then the government get a whiff of it and go, oh shit, maybe we should have a look at these a bit more because more and more people are getting bit by them. They're a bit more dangerous. I tell you what, let's just blanket ban centipedes for now until we can look at the individual species and how dangerous they can be.
Now, what I should have added before we got onto that was it was for my own personal, not for sharing.
What you do in your own space is
exactly. I'm not one for publicise. So if you look at the Mad Exotics, for example, we don't really show any animal handling of any type. There might be the odd one here or there, and with your reptile side of it, handling is a lot more accepted. With your invert side, you're taking a hell of a risk handling things. Not so much for yourself, but also for the animal. If you drop a spider, for example, that's game over. I'm very aware of that. It's more with the Scolopendra, it's building up a sense of understanding it more for me than it is trying to gain views, if that makes sense.
I get it. If it's not going on Facebook or anything like that, and if you get bit, it's all on you. But the other thing I think is if you get bit, you've got the tendency to go like that, and then centipede goes flying off, and you've damaged it because you've stressed it and it bit you.
Exactly.
Still your fault.
And I get what you're saying there, and it's more. I think more of having my hand in there and having it crawl over me than it is having it out of the enclosure, standing up in the middle of a room.
There you go, Dave. I tried setting up some groups of the larger centipedes, but none of the suppliers wanted to help. Same with the camel spiders. Because if they do that and Dave breeds them, suddenly the price comes down and the sellers are out of that market.
And I think the thing is, the only way you're going to do that, Dave, is by doing it off your own back and not telling them what you're doing.
Yeah, literally build them up over a period of time.
Exactly. I mean, just out of curiosity, if anyone knows, if I had 2 male scolopendras of any species, for example, in the same enclosure with each other, and I'm not saying a small enclosure, I'm saying a decent size, would they attack each other and fight? Would they seek each other out? Or if there was enough food, would they leave each other alone?
That, I don't know. The reason being is because I've never tried it myself and never heard of anybody putting a male and male together, or I simply have no idea.
But no, I'm just wondering, because obviously sexing them is that difficult. Could you have say I had a 6x2 enclosure, and the fact that I had that much space and I put a dozen different centipedes, the same species in there, would I have carnage across them? As long as if the food, obviously make sure you've got enough food in there and there's enough food constantly. And I'm not talking just a bare enclosure. I'm talking fully planted out, full substrate. They can burrow, and like we spoke about earlier, with earthworms, grubs, cockroaches, everything in there.
If they've got enough space, the probability is that they're not going to see each other.
And then obviously when mating comes round, at some point you should, in theory, cross that bridge.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Dan says opportunistic cannibal, but you don't need to house together. You see, with the inverts, if they're not, I mean, we've got Balfours, which are a communal, but they're forced communal. The more communal animals, I think there's one type of spider which I had, and I can't remember the name of it for the love of my money. I'm pretty sure. Did we go off Venomous Visions at the spider shop? Fair few years ago. Which will actually, work together, hunt together, and all the rest of it. Similar to your assassin bugs. Things that are communal in the wild is classed as communal with the inverts, and then the rest is literally just forced communals.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying, going back to what Dan Clan Critter said, it's a query more than I'm going to. It's a interest, if that makes sense.
Topic of discussion.
Yeah, it's not. I'm going to go by 20.
If they don't benefit from it, it's not for him. Mikey, there's only a couple of tarantulas that I've had a bit of handling time with. They're only way out. I don't, however. I did do Stegosaurus are communal. Yes, I have handled, and I did it for a video because I was like, do you know what? People are going to handle. So the best thing I can do is show them how to get over that idea of I need to handle my spider type thing. And I did the video and I said, look, this is the safest way for the spider that I can think of, where it's literally you lay your hand on the substrate and let the spider walk over you.
Yeah.
And then you've got it out of your system. The only other times I've handled have literally been accidental, and I will film that and I will show you, because I don't believe in saying I don't handle and then an accidental handling has happened and I've not spoken about it or told people about it, because I don't want them to think, oh no, I just handled it and now I feel bad. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes these spiders go places and you think, oh fuck, what are you doing on my shoulder?
I had my skeleton leg that I rehoused. I was moving it from one to the other, and it bolted. It went up my arm, across my back, down the other arm.
Exactly.
Jumped off my hand. I caught it in the air. I squealed like a girl. I shrieked. Everyone in the house wondered what the hell had gone on. I managed to catch it without it getting hurt. Got it back into the enclosure, but that wasn't intentional. That was completely out of my control and scared the shit out of me.
I nearly handled the Costalis because as it come flying up the tongs, I managed to lie the tongs on the side of the light box opening, and as it got there, just got the catch cup over the top. But if I hadn't got the catch cup, I would have been like, if I hadn't got it in the light box, sorry, I would have been holding the tongs, going, I can't drop this because the spider's going to die, and it would have gone up my arm. But accidental handling is just sometimes it's avoidable because it'll be avoidable in the sense that next time you're not going to make the same mistake.
No, and
you're going to do something differently.
Earlier, I mean, with what I was saying about the scolopendra earlier, it's more of a morbid curiosity than picking the animal up and going, "Look, I've got it in my hands." It's my own personal morbid curiosity of, can I trust this animal?
You do see a lot more of it on TikTok. Normally, P Metallicas on people's fucking faces and stuff like that.
Oh, imagine
that. And I'm just like, I just want to grab whoever it is and throttle them to death and go, you're better off away from this, you know?
Old worlds are very much like we have our tree boas and tree pythons in the reptile world. They are show species. They are not there to be played with and juggled. They are, you set them up nicely and you sit back and you admire it. I mean, you don't handle your fish.
No, exactly. You don't handle fish, and that's how you should see the animals as well. I do see the need, as long as it comes with an explanation, not to handle as such, but to have a tarantula in an inappropriate setup when it comes to educational purposes only. So if you're going into a school, maybe you've got the tarantula on, this much substrate so it can't disappear, so the kids can see it, get into it, get interested by it,
rather than a full-size enclosure.
Yeah, exactly. But that already happens because that's how they are at shows.
Yeah,
as well. So we already buy them in these tiny containers and all the rest of it. So,
but then you get the people who go, "Oh, they're in smaller enclosures at the containers at the shows," but they'll happily go and pick it up and move it around their hands when they've got it at home.
That's true. That is true.
Which one's worse?
But if they don't come in the tiny enclosures, which, bear in mind, the best way to think about tarantulas, not necessarily true spiders as well, is majority of them are like the opposite to claustrophobia. That's what they want to feel enclosed.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have them, then there's no way you'd have so many species and so many available of that species at shows and things like that.
There's always going to be an argument for every direction you go.
So there has to be a kind of an opposition to the rule, if you like. We have to break the rules for shows and stuff like that, pet shops, even sellers, because if you're selling, if you're a seller, you suddenly not got 500 spiders for sale. You've got 10 because of all the enclosures.
It's a difficult one.
Dave says the price of the retail price of the giant centipedes.
They are big money.
Them, yeah, 400 quid. It's a no from me.
I pay so mine's an adult wild caught mid leg, and I think I paid 80 quid for that.
This is Charlie G, 8-Legged Emporium, a very close friend of mine. I love this man to bits. I also appreciate his honesty. I do a lot of dumb shit. I'm glad he started it that way, and it's not smart, I'm sure. One day I will not get away with it. I don't think it's particularly clever, but I can't say I've ever got a spider out in the last 3 years with the intention of handling it for a photograph or himself.
And that's fair enough. At the end of the day, this is what people don't. A lot of the people who publish the handling are doing it as clickbait. A lot of the big keepers don't publish handling; they just publish rehousing.
And then you go to when they're doing the handling, like clips and stuff, and to get the TikTok viral fucking video, whatever it is, or YouTube short, and then you go to their site and you think, this is shit. And you look at the subscriber count, you go, wow. And then you look at the shorts, and that's what's getting them their subscriber count. I won't do it.
Yeah. Going to what Dave says, the centipedes are crazy active. Not they really are. Mine actually tongue fed for me the other day. For the first time ever.
They'll take fruit as well. Fruit and little chunks of ham.
Well, I say he. It could be a she. I really don't know. Took really gently off the tongs, which blew my mind.
Honesty again. When I rehouse spiders, however, I do use my hands sometimes. I may get a photo then or whatever. For example, the Pachypus mature male on the face was an absolutely not intentional.
But if you got the chance, take it.
Osman can hear them scratching the enclosure at night. Oh, 100%. If one of my spiders escaped and I saw it in the front room and no catch cups, yeah, I'm going to try and pick it up. I ain't going to lie. And I won't lie.
I've got a cheeky plug from Arachnospace here. I've got my centipede in one of the tarantula cribs enclosures with the sliding magnetic top.
I charge for advertisement.
No, but I don't. So we're fine.
I'm only joking.
No,
honestly, the reason
closures.
The reason I haven't got a lot of them is just purely because of the price. That's it.
You pay for the quality.
The quality of those, and what a lot of the others put out there, which they've literally bought off Temu crap, is miles apart. It's the difference between going. Remember the old school black pumps?
Yeah.
It's like buying a pair of them and comparing them, and then buying a pair of Nike Air Max. Worlds apart.
I think the way I put it was like it's a hypercar compared to your Nissan GTR. They're like the Bugatti of the enclosure world compared to a Nissan GTR sort of thing.
Just
head
the
and shoulders
look and feel sexy.
It doesn't. It's so clear and it doesn't discolor. It just doesn't discolor. No, it's these. You're talking 6 mil thick acrylic.
I think I've had the tarantula cat one for about 2 years now, and that's still as straight as a die.
Yeah, I've got 4 in my lounge. My daughter's got one of the 360 ones in her bedroom, and my youngest has got one of the switches with the canopy on the top for her little jumping spider in her bedroom. And they're just the quality. It also protects the animal. So, like my little one, if she knocks her wardrobe where it's on the shelf on there, I know that spider's safe in there. It might shake the enclosure a little bit, but the enclosure's just not going to collapse. Whereas some of the shit you buy off Timo, it'll collapse on the spot.
Well, I've had myself and seen some of the ones that have been glued, and the edges just go pop. And you can ask my wife about that, because when we moved in here, I had a colony of banana roaches, and we were finding them for days, maybe weeks, around the house.
Yeah, I've got what have I got? I've got 2 of the switches with my jumping spiders in. I've got one of the reptile cribs with my assassin bugs in. I've got one of the XL slide tops with my centipede in, because it was the most secure thing I could find, because the lid slides in and then the magnets hold it in place, and it's a 12-inch deep enclosure. Mm-hmm. So I've got about 5 or 6 inches of substrate at the bottom. And the centipede, it can reach up to the top, don't get me wrong, but it's not got enough leverage to ever be able to move that top of the lid.
I've got, same as Dan there, enclosures that are just plastic boxes bought from B&M. I've got enclosures that are easy storage boxes. I've got all sorts of different round plastic things, tarantula room enclosures, obviously the Arachnospace one, glass ones. Back in the day, you need that thicker acrylic because it holds the heat better as well. It will actually hold a bit of warmth.
I've got planariums with things. I've got exoterras. The thing I like about acrylic stuff is the weight. Yeah,
but it's lighter than glass, obviously.
Oh, it's ridiculously light compared. I've got a 90-90-45 90-45-90 exoterra that I'm in the process of building up for an animal that I'm not going to mention just yet, because I'm looking forward to showcasing it all once it's all done. That thing's got to be close to a metric fucking ton to move, just the enclosure. It's ridiculous.
I've got one exoterra that I brought brand new, the rest of all second hand.
This one's a second hand one I got. I just 3D printed a new lid for it in pieces, just stuck it all together. So I'm quite proud of that at the moment.
Mikey says the Kea was in a cereal tub. Seemed a happy spider. Yeah. Yeah, well, the Haplopalma tanks that were designed by Von Worthy in the late 80s are very similar. So they're very thin, quite
Yeah.
wide back, with holes, vent holes at the bottom and the top. The idea being is the substrate fills it up, and then if you want water in the bottom, you just put it in a bucket of water. The water goes in through the bottom vase hole, take it back out, job done. Fantastic idea.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Osman. Unfortunately, Osman doesn't do much when it comes to like pictures and stuff. But when he did, he came on the lives, and his enclosures, each one's identical, so they're all set up like gobsmackingly beautiful. Every single one is just like absolutely amazing.
That's fair play. If I had the time and money, I'd probably be like that. But I don't have the time and I don't have the money to be OCD about stuff like that.
Dave, I think you might be a couple of minutes behind. Just have a look at that sliding bar at the bottom and push it all the way to the right. I've done that a few times on a live where you're chatting away, but you're talking to them like because you're watching it 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're 5 minutes in the past.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening.
So we've got to wait for him to catch up to this bit to be able to go, oh crap.
Literally. What's the dream for Mad Exotics? What's the end goal?
It's to build a community where people can come together and treat all exotics the same under one roof without hammering each other for it.
And then if one of the moderators could just put Andy's links back into the comments. I'm part of his Facebook group, and I find it a very nice space to be. It's very pleasing. There's no negativity in there, which is quite rare to see nowadays.
If there's any negativity, I'll be kicked out the fucking door on the spot.
Exactly. Well, with my WhatsApp group, I always think if somebody comes in with a bit of negativity, I kind of leave them for a little while. Maybe have a message, because sometimes they can change when they're overwhelmed with positivity. So I like to give people a little bit of time to change and all the rest of it.
I guess the way I mean it is, if they come in there and they're just being arseholes, if they're going to come in and they say something that they can learn from it and people can teach them, great. If they're going to come in and just berate everyone, they ain't going to last.
There's just no room for it no more.
No, and this is what I mean. We had a comment from someone going, the hobby will never unify because I don't want to associate with the idiots. Well, if you've got that attitude, you're the idiot.
Yeah, you've just disassociated yourself with the hobby.
Yeah.
With the hobby.
That's on one of our posts. I've left it there. If people want to go and find it, that's down to them. I'm not going to say who it was. I'm not going to say any more about it, but that's the attitude that we're trying to fight.
With my WhatsApp group, I've just tried to create a safe space, whether that's for coming in and finding other invert and reptile keepers, or if it's simply just for somebody with a different viewpoint, maybe a bit of mental health, just come and have a little safe space where it's a little bit different, you know. Arachnid Spaces, Andy's built up a really thriving, positive community. I think it really needed. I'm not one for communities, never have been, but Andy's created a nice space.
Thank you, Richard.
Mikey says, absolute fucking pebbles.
Mikey's part of the little group as well.
It did. It took me a long time, I must admit, especially with my background, which again, you know, a lot of you watching from my channel will know all about it. For those of you who don't, you'll find out about it when I come over to Andy's a bit later on and do that one. So it took me a good couple of years in the hobby to kind of find where that emotional stability middle ground was or is.
So I'm just looking up. You're the 24th of July on ours, just so people will mark it in their calendars.
And I had to go back to a time of my life where I was still sweet and innocent and looked at both sides of the story and realised that was the way forward I had to go.
None of us have perfect lives. I've made some serious mistakes along the way. in my own personal life, in my work life, in my animal keeping, in every aspect. I've got involved in things I shouldn't have. I've done things I shouldn't have.
What's been the biggest mistake you've ever done in your personal life? Thank you, Donna.
My second, well, technically, it's my second marriage. So the first girl I was, without tying the knot, we were basically classed as married. We'd been together that long. We broke up for the fact that she was hooked on drugs and I wanted to move away from it. She wouldn't give up the drugs, so I walked out of her life. The second one came along more or less after the back of that, and I fell into a trap that I shouldn't have. I got myself head over heels into it, and then she left me for someone else when times hit hard, and it sent me down a very, very dark spiral. And I've not been the nicest of people to my current partner at the beginning. I've sorted my shit out, but in the nicest sense, I went through a spate of treating people really fucking badly because I was trying to project my pain elsewhere.
I think it takes a real man to say something like that. And a lot of courage. I also think that your current partner can literally milk that for the next 20 years.
Oh, she will do. And the thing is, I have been an arsehole. I have done horrible things to people, not just to other people in my life. I have treated them badly. I went through major issues. I was diagnosed with anxiety last year, and that's helped me in a way. I've got an ADHD diagnosis earlier in this year, so we've got a sort of idea of what's going on. But
so you're a normal human being.
Yeah. So I just promise I bury my head in the sand and try and just dig out the other side with a lot of the problems that I come through. And that's not the way to do it. That's something that I'm trying to sort out in myself now, is dealing with the problems and just dealing with them rather than pretending they don't exist.
I really want to expand on that, but again, I'm going to save it for your podcast. All I'll say is shows where I'm talking to everybody, enjoying it, and things like this. The wife will then see me very quiet for a very long time, and she deals with that. But again, we can explore that when I'm on with you in July.
Yeah, no, that'd be grand. And I've really enjoyed doing this tonight. I'll be completely honest with you, I was nervous as fuck about coming on as a guest because I'm normally the one who's doing the other side of it.
The thing is, every guest that comes on, the comments section always has their back and not mine, which I absolutely love. Always. It's
been a very active comment section. It's been really nice. The viewer count's been great. I mean, I know a lot of people who view don't always comment. So hello to all of you who haven't commented.
I don't know. I mean, I think with views and things like that, it's frustrating because I see a lot of like startup channels getting that could be absolutely amazing, getting caught up with I've only got 100 views, I've only got 10 subscribers, and I don't batter an eyelid. I just do what I do, and I think my recent videos only got just over 100 views the last time I checked, but it don't bother me because I didn't do it for that. I did it for me and for the fact that somebody new to the hobby might buy that spoiler, might find my video, and now they can set it up.
When we started Mad Exotics, me and Mac, we both sat down and said, if we get 2 views, we'll be happy. And that would be our partners, if our partners decide to watch. And we never did it for anything more than 2 guys chatting shit because that's how it started. We started.
I was putting the boys to bed, by the way, so she's only commenting every now and again. Sorry.
That's fair. That's right. No, so Mad Exotics started off a joke of me and Mac talking a lot in an advice group on RSUK. And someone said, well, why don't you start a group? Why don't you start? I was like, all right, we'll start a podcast. And within 7 days, we did the first episode. And that was back in November. And we built. Sorry, go.
Just quickly before you expand on that. So if somebody's watching and thinking about setting up a YouTube channel, because you're just like fresh into it, how would you say the process is for you? Was it easy? Was it heart wrenching?
The hardest bit of it was working out what the fuck you're doing with it. So I'm quite lucky. Mac takes care of all the technical side, which is why Wilson's Exotic has come up with the hashtag blame Mac, because whenever anything goes wrong, she's on his case. But he does the sort of stream elements and all that sort of stuff with it. I take care of the social media and the booking the guests and stuff like that. So it's nice having two of us doing it because we can split the workload. But what I've found is that it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Trying to plan lives is hard work, get them running and make them work. Shorts take off, but people don't really care about them. Videos, do videos because we're planning on doing more, don't get me wrong here. They're the ones that people look up. So if I like our lives, like the chats we have with people, unless people are interested in that person you're talking with, on the whole, they're not going to go back to it. Let's be honest. So we've got Bob Bleasdale from Green Brew Pythons on this Friday as a live. Quite a big American YouTuber in the reptile scene. In theory, should do quite well with people tuning in because it's live. But we did a pre-recording with a friend of mine, Kerry Morinello, who runs the Morinello Steak Lab. He's got about 1.6 million followers. But because people didn't want to see him, they only care about the animals on his thing so much, the views weren't anywhere near what you'd expect for someone with that big a following, which is quite interesting. Sometimes
they need to share it out.
And they do. Some of them do.
Other times, you know, so it's like this. 36 people watching now, but if I did an invert show, or a BTS show video, you're looking at 1,000 to 2,000 views. It's the context of that video. Not everybody's into two talking heads.
No, exactly.
A lot of people want to see the talking as well as seeing the animals, and it's personal preferences.
No, it's just the way it is, and it's the way the internet goes. Right, if you want to have a successful channel, from what I'm learning, you need to cater to all areas.
So my thing is literally, if if it's going to get me views, but I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it.
No. I mean, what we're looking at doing with
set myself out some like rules, if you like, when I first got into it. I've done one video which was clickbait out of, I don't know, I've done a few thousand now, and I won't do another clickbait one because to this day, like three years later, it still annoys me just the thought of the fact that I did it.
And I don't like the clickbait thing. It's like we're looking at doing a series at some point on the different heating elements, for example. So covering heat rock, heat mat, heat lamp, CHE, deep heat, infrared, and giving a basic explanation to what each thing is, and why it's good, and why it's bad, and why you should use it, why you should avoid it. Because let's be honest, there are so many different opinions out there that you could read on a heat map, for example. You could read 6 different things, and every single one will say something different. So it'd be nice to actually go on to camera and go, right, this is a heat map, this is what it looks like, this is how it works, this is the readings, this is how you set one up, and this is what we would use it for.
I was just about to say, understanding what area of the keeping each one has its use for.
Yeah, because I mean,
even if you use multiples together, maybe.
I mean, I'll use my fire skink setup, for example. I have in there a ReptiRad, and I have an RS Gold infrared unit, which is basically a patio heater as my heat sources. I have 2 UVB bulbs, I have a metal halide, and I have 2 LED lights in there.
Just quickly, Donna, feel free to drop Mikey's link into the comments and your own.
So, you know, there's so many different ways of setting up and doing it. Because the one thing I'm trying to push for in the hobby is losing the minimum as a descriptive. This is the minimum standard. This is the minimum care. Why are we looking for minimum? Why are we looking for adequate? Adequate to thrive.
I get that.
You've got 3 levels of care for me. You've got adequate to thrive. You've got better. And then you've got the wild, which is the best. We will never hit the best. We can always better what we're doing, but you start with the adequate to thrive.
I got slated by a taxonomist for this, but I said, like, you should be keeping a water dish in with every single spider in your collection. And they come on there and went, no, you don't. And I was a taxonomist. And I understood what they were saying. I understand the fact that if you keep your substrate damp enough, they can take the moisture out of the substrate. And if you spray the web, they can take water off there. But we should still be providing a water dish.
But what people don't
adequate care is a water dish in that enclosure, regardless of species, because every animal should have the right to have the water. And when they're they might not have access to it all the time in the wild, but they're not in the wild, they're in our care. Therefore, we should be providing the best. Charlie says I don't have a dish for half of his spiders, but you've got to understand Charlie's keeping. Charlie's keeping is exceptional. So his moisture levels will be absolutely perfect. He will be making sure that if it's not got a water dish, it's taking it naturally from the substrate or off the webbing. It's not the fact that they don't need the water.
But instead, you can always, if you've got a species that needs regular misting, set up a mist system across all of them. And they can have a light spray.
Exactly.
Water dishes aren't just there to be drunk from. They're there to help with humidity. And this is what a lot of people overlook with water dishes. That you're not just putting it in there for the animal to go and have a drink, because I can guarantee I have maybe seen my red knee drink from her water bowl, or stand over her water bowl twice. Whether she's drinking or not, I don't know, because I'm still learning the science. And that's something I was going to plug her, Amy, Pet Rock and Roll's doing with her taxonomy thing of spiders alongside Invert Vet. I'm learning so much from that at the moment. But
BTS committee member as well. So if you're going to the BTS in May, you'll meet her.
She's lined up for the podcast as well at some point, along with Ray.
Amy and her husband are just beautiful people.
Yeah,
and she normally does a live stream the BTS week with some of the BTS community members as well, which is well worth a watch.
Yeah, no, I'll keep an eye out on that. But yeah, it's why not provide it? I mean, I've got a desert species of lizard, gamas. I have never seen it. Eh?
Essential instead of basic. Yeah, because basic, you kind of think, well, I might have to do that. I ain't got to. Because when you think about basic, you think basic clothing and it's shit. Anything basic is shit. Away from keeping.
Essentials to survive.
Whereas when it says essential, it's like you need it.
Yeah. I've got, as
I say,
I've got
different images in my mind.
I've got desert species of lizards. And I've never seen them drink from a water bowl, but they still have a water bowl in there. I mean, they get most of their moisture out of their food, but they've still got a water bowl in there. They might not need it, but it's still there because it's an option.
But parts of the desert can get quite cold and damp during the night.
Yeah. I mean, they get sprayed down once a week. I could probably go with twice a week and it'd be fine. You've got to think, deserts could drop to 0 degrees at night.
Exactly.
And people always think of the daytime. They never think of the nighttime temperatures.
That's when the camel spiders first come into the hobby. They were dropping dead. Well, some of them were actually in molt, and people thought they were dead and binned them. But that's another story. Oh, the camel spider keeping has now increased. So what they do now is provide heat through the day of up to 40 degrees, and then drop it right down at night time. And they're surviving a bit longer. We might be able to get them breeding in captivity soon as well. Fingers crossed. But the camel spiders, people used to bin them because they thought they were dead, because it takes them like a week to molt.
Yeah, I mean, it's something else. It's like I've got a species of gecko that I'm not breeding now, but I was, and they lay their eggs under the sand. So what I did was I chucked a thermometer under the sand where they lay and measured the daytime and nighttime temperatures that the eggs would be taking. Because you get temperature fluctuations in eggs when they're incubating. And people don't, just set it to 28 degrees, it'll be fine. but it was hitting a high of 35 during the day and dropping to a low of 19 at night.
Just quickly, Mickey says, have you saw the spitting spiders? Are you talking about the net casting spiders, the ones that make a web and then throw the web?
Is that the ogre face?
Phil, yeah, ogre face. They're being bred in captivity now as well. Phil, I had a zoo license inspector tell him off because one of the sulcata tortoises was having a drink.
And that person needs to be punched in the face.
I was just about to say, don't need sacking. Needs taken around the back of the room and having the shit kicked out of him.
Just take him around the back and shoot him.
Wow.
That's what we do with a bad animal. So I do it with a bad inspector. I don't condone taking an animal around the back and shooting it, just for the record, before that's taken out of context.
What do you do for a living again, Andy?
I am a HGV mechanic. I specialise in trailers and tail lifts these days.
Oh,
I started my apprenticeship on airport plant equipment. Then moved on to trucks, and then found the niche in the trailers and the tail lift stuff. Because everyone wants the glory of the truck. Everyone wants to be a truck mechanic. No one wants to work on the shit that goes on the back of them. And realistically, there's more money in that.
Do you know the side of the I can't remember what Hollander
the Delandia stuff.
What model number it is now, but there's one and it's got two hoses that run up a small metal column on the side of the truck. And fuck me.
Jesus, which one's that?
If you take one out, you're never getting it back in again.
It's one of the European spec ones they use with the tail lift doors on the back, isn't it? I had one the shitter pose on Christmas Eve. He had to get back to somewhere in Europe that night. And we managed to patch him together to get him back.
Did you run the hose on the outside?
No, I managed to get my hands on a crimper that wasn't attached to anything and drag the hose out, put the crimper under the vehicle and do it that way.
Hand crimp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
I've cut the welds out before now to get the hose in and then knocked it back into position and then phoned somebody like yourself up to say, look, when this truck comes back to you, it needs a bit of weld running down the side.
It's mad. It's. I love the trade, but I'm getting to the point now where it's knackering me physically. I've spent that long doing the heavy shit that I can feel it in all my joints.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
Oh, you're only a baby.
I know, but working in HGV, 41's a fucking lifetime.
I'm 47. Been on the tools and go gym. And...
This gives away how much my fucking paper round's been.
I was just very lucky. Speaking of BTMS committee member Tim Baxter has joined.
Good evening, Tim.
He'll hate me for saying this, but literally, the community is expert on scorpions. Full stop. I can't believe this.
I'm just waiting for my scorpions to arrive now.
If you speak to Tim nicely, he might come on a podcast.
Tim, we'll come on the podcast.
His knowledge on scorpions and stuff will just blow your mind.
Oh, I'd love it. And it's so, Dave, can you come on my podcast, please?
Quality, man.
But yeah, no. So,
what do you think you'd move into then if you move away from the tail lift repairs?
Exotic animals.
Do something with the exotics.
Yeah, something where. Because I mean, without blowing my own horn, which is obviously going to sound, I've got to a point with my job now where I could do it without thinking.
I know what you mean. You've done everything. I'm at the same point.
And I want something that challenges me daily more. And it's nice to be able to go to work, do my job, come home. But working with exotics.
Let me just stop you because you might like this comment.
Perfect. I'll drop you a message at some point over the next few days, Tim. Right, I'm going to just make a note of who I need to message because I will go to sleep and go, who the fuck was that again? There we go. That is jotted down. Perfect. Now we just need to get Dave's little beasties to agree.
He said a bit earlier on, he's had a bit of a break from social media because it can get overwhelming.
Oh, I can understand that. I mean, I've got
so maybe
no
just
booking
give him
space till September at the moment. Anyway, we are booked up till September on the Mad Exotics podcast.
Pure's asked one for you both, Scott and Andy. Favorite and most recommended invert and why? Andy's for me, and for you, most favorite and most recommended reptile and why?
I'll let you go first, Scott.
I would say, I'd say the GBB, Chromatopalma Pubescens, because one, it's one of two species in the hobby where the Latin name and the common name you can use them both, and nobody batters an eyelid. So green bottle blue, and nobody will tell you, you got to use the scientific name. It's just there's that one and the LP, which is the Lazadora parabama. Both of them you can use the common names and nobody says anything. But it's a lovely, lovely looking spider. Got all the colours in the world, and it webs up the whole enclosure. If it bites you, it's a little bit like a bee sting. You don't really handle them, but if you've been keeping, you've got a tiny bit of experience, it's one of those spiders that is an absolute must. And again, when you see it and it's got the greens and the blues and all the rest of it all over it, and it's sitting on a mass of webbing, it just looks absolutely stunning. You keep them relatively dry. They're pretty robust. Keep the water dish in there, obviously. Their takedowns can be pretty impressive as well. And it's one of those spiders that when they're out and about, and if you have one of your friends around that's kind of looking at your spiders, but not, going, oh, the big brown things, you can get out and say, look at this enclosure and look at this spider. And again, they're generally priced pretty well as well for a decent looking spider. They tend to be a bit cheaper. But the thing, like I said, especially for newer guys, is the bulletproof, so they do allow for a couple of mistakes with humidity and what have you.
That answers that one. For me, reptile, it's difficult because I've got reptiles, I've got a lizard and I've got a snake. Now, to me, it's hognose snakes because they're smaller. They're smaller, but they've got attitude. They're sassy. They're rewarding. They have their moments. They can be difficult feeders sometimes. They are classed as one of the beginner snakes. Nothing's really beginner, but they are rewarding to work with. I mean, one of my females is hilarious. That if my partner goes in the tub, she's hissing, bluff striking, hates her. I can stand up behind her, look over the tub, and she becomes puppy dog. Just completely loses the attitude. And people say snakes. The hormones? I don't know, but whatever it is, it just makes me laugh because even with she can smell the hormones, you'd expect her to keep going once I've appeared. The minute she sees me, she stops it. And they say snakes don't have personalities.
Andy,
yeah,
I'll give you.
I've just
another semi.
Hey, perfect. I will get in touch with you, Dave. This is going well. This is
both
going very well.
Both of them are just shining examples of what the community is all about.
I will reach out to Dave as well this week. Right, as I say about the hognoses, there's just everything about them, and also obviously with snakes, you've got the added. If you want a dark snake or you want a light snake, the species with the morphs you can then provide to that. Oh, you're right, Lee. That's Hellfire Herps, is Lee. And then you've got lizard-wise for me. Everyone goes, oh, I'd like a bearded dragon, or bearded dragons are cool. Don't get me wrong, but I prefer.
Piss me off.
I like painted agamas. I love my painted agamas. They are like a bearded dragon to look at.
Mastics, man. Oh.
They have such a better personality. They are easier to keep in a way to beardies. I've got a male and female in together. And they basically, a bearded dragon, you're hitting probably 2 foot. Whereas the agamas, they're probably sort of about 14, 15 inches. And they've got more personality, they're more active, even as adults. Because the problem with the bearded dragon is it gets to adult, it slows down. It just sits there as a lump. Whereas these guys are constantly on the go. And if you open the enclosure, they will come and they'll jump up on your arm and sit there. And to me, yeah, they're the best lizards by far.
I'll just touch on that beginner. Beginner species is such an individual.
It is
process. I mean, let's say look at Dave when he first got into spiders, and Charlie G, both done venomous animals in the past. So they're already used to fast-moving animals, quick-moving animals. They've already done a lot of research into animals, so they already know that they've got to research the spiders. So what would be a beginner for somebody brand new to animals might not necessarily be a beginner to those guys.
I think
it's such an individual thing. There is some generic ones for people that are fresh and 100% new to the hobby. Yeah, of course. You know, curly hair, GBB, vegans, the normal stuff. But then if you've had experience with fast-moving creatures in the past and you know that you've got to do your research before buying the animal, you might be able to go straight into Old Worlds.
Sorry. The problem with beginner is it's a very loosely thrown around term. What people don't think of when they're saying as beginner is it is hardy to mistakes is more what you're looking for a beginner animal. So something that's more forgiving. If you don't get the humidity right for a couple of days, it's not going to roll over. If you miss a feed, it's not going to kill the animal. It's that is a beginner animal more to me than anything else. You've got a lot of animals that fall into that, but anything can be a beginner species with the right support.
In our hobby, and I see this quite a lot, and it annoys me. You might agree, people in the comments, you guys might agree, you might not, but a newbie goes up to a seller and says, I want a beginner spider. And they go, curly hair. 1 second. Come popping out. There's your sling, £5. And that new tarantula keeper goes home with the world's smallest sling in a pot, and they get fed up of looking at a pinhead. I always say, if you're going to get a spider, try and go for a juvenile or a larger spider, because you're going to be able to see it and it's going to maintain that interest.
Also, I will add, through my experience with spiders, slings are prone to just being suicidal. One day they'll just decide, no, I've had enough of the world, I'm done.
Again, that's why when spiders breed, they have so many.
Yeah, and if you want to start, juvie is definitely the best way to go.
That's not me saying don't get a sling and grow it on, by the way. That's fully rewarding. But as a new
start with a juvenile, in my opinion, and I think it shadows your opinion as well here, Scott, because you've got an animal that's a substantial size that you can look at and you can interact with, and then once you've learned a bit about the animal, get yourself a sling for that rewarding growing on. So you've got something that is visually appealing, and then you've got something that is rewarding.
Or I'll just encourage you to spend money, get a sling, get a grown-on sling, get a juvie, and get an adult. Job done.
All at the same time.
And then the following week, get some more. And
then before you know, you've got 5,000 spiders.
If somebody is coming into the hobby, make the decision, because if you think I am going to get into spiders in a big way, make sure you got the money for it. Make sure you got food for it. Make sure you got the space for it, and make sure you're able to do that essential care. So, you know, sooner or later you're going to have to heat up a lot of enclosures in a single room, and the electric bill does come in, and you will get told off by your partner.
I think the thing people forget is when they buy a sling, and it's in that little vial that you start with, and it's on your shelf that you've got in your lounge, and you've got nothing else on there, and you go, oh, I could get another 40 slings on there. They're not thinking about 6 months to a year down the line when they've got to go up a size.
Nope. No, not. I think I've addressed this in videos in the past, which is what are you going to do? I'm not going to say like accident or anything, like, but Andy, if you and your partner were incapable of looking after the animals for a couple of weeks, have you got a backup plan?
Yes.
So have I. You've got to also remember that if you want to go on holiday, those spiders, those animals, they're not going on holiday with you. They're still there, so they're still going to be spraying and everything.
Yeah.
You've got to have a couple of people, or maybe a good friend on standby.
And this is something that was spoken about in one of our groups earlier. One of the girls was thinking about starting an exotic pet sitting business, because you can get a dog sitter, you can get a cat sitter, you can get someone to come and feed your rabbit, but not many people will come and look after your inverts and your reptiles for you.
I feel that one. Keep animals, you ain't going on holiday because you ain't going to be able to afford it.
And then you get kids as well, and you're completely done for.
Oh, I don't.
Fucking kids. The boys going away on an adventure holiday tomorrow with school, and that was what, 250, 300 quid.
Well, the oldest is 26. The next one's 19. The 26-year-old, he looks after himself. He's mechanic for Peugeot, real, just sorted. Then we got 16-year-old stepdaughter, and then 7-year-old lad and 6-year-old lad.
You're a glutton of punishment, aren't you?
And the daughter, although, we had plans, because she is very intelligent, we had plans of her going off and doing, criminology and forensic science and stuff. She has an absolute love and addiction for Ferrari. So me being me was like, you could work for Aston Martin, Ferrari. She went, what? How? And I've gone, wow, you could go to college and do vehicle mechanics. From that, you could then expand into university and do something else and something else. So she's just applied for the college literally on Saturday for vehicle mechanics, and she's had a reply back to say, yeah. I know there's a lot of mechanics out there and all the rest of it, and it's going to be difficult to find her a job. But luckily in my line of work, I have contact with quite a few mechanics quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, I get that one. I mean, you use your contacts to better your kids.
Well, it's when it comes to kids, it's like, do I want them to have the same life I have had so far? Do I want them to have 1,000 times better? Yeah, the whole point of having kids is so they do better than what you have ever done.
I don't understand people who hold their kids back.
That pisses me off. Do you know what? That girl, she had an interview at the college, right, for uniform services, and she didn't turn up, and she didn't tell us. And her mum got an email. Yeah, that could be a good one on Spicer. So I said to her, why didn't you go to the college for your interview? And she looked at me, and she thought she was going to get the bollocking of her lifetime. And I said, if you changed your mind, I went, you changed your mind. I went, I'm not, it's not my life, it's not my future, it's yours. I said, but if you're going to cancel something like that, I said, tell us first so we can cancel it. And when if you want to go down a different path, we'll support you. It doesn't matter.
But
just whatever you do, if you're a bin man, I want you to be the perfect bin man out there. If you're a postman, I want you to be the perfect, the best you can ever be. Whatever job you go into, whatever you do in life, I just want you to achieve and just make sure that you're happy. The most important thing is happiness.
Exactly. They're not happy. What's the point?
Exactly.
I mean, I went to college off the back of school, and I just did it because I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I did 3 years there. I left that. I went into the trade, into mechanics, and I went into plant and commercial.
I did 2 years GMVQ intermediate science, and then did the advanced course in GMVQ advanced science, and never done anything with it.
Yeah.
Plant and heavy machinery, I would love to go into the sales side on the road.
I went into college and I did IT, business, and law for 3 years. And I now fix trucks and tail lifts and lorries and all sorts of stuff. There's no combining. There's nothing combines across from the two. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
I tell you what does flex between the two. and my industry.
Go on.
Health and safety goes out the fucking window.
What's health and safety?
Exactly.
You can't do the job if you follow health and safety.
Mate, I had a machine go today. I had to take the belly plate off. I couldn't get under it to take the belly plate off, and it was a digger. So I sent Tara the pictures of it, actually. And I went, look, this is some of the stress I have to deal with. So we've put the bucket on the floor, lifted the machine up in the air, put 2 breeze blocks under the front of the machine, load it onto them. Prior to that, we've dug a trench out underneath the machine, and I'm lying in this trench underneath. But the only way we could do it was put a trench here, and there's a trench right next door to it that was housing some drainage. And the track was on about this much soil, both sides. So it had this much extra soil both sides. And I'm thinking, if that little bridge collapses, I am fucked. I just did it quick. Job done.
I've spent many years working on the hard shoulder.
But that ain't never going to move. Unless I'd have done that, they would never get it offside.
No. I mean, having done many years on the hard shoulder, a lot of people don't understand. I don't look at traffic. I'd rather not know if it's going to hit me.
Yes. So I was just laughing because the enemy said I've done too many qualifications to count. But Leo's told me he wants to be a barber and Noah wants to be an axolotl.
That's amazing. That is life aspirations right there.
Oh. Whoa, Hellfire. Hellfire was a fireman for 20 years. Thank you for your service, man.
Yeah, and now he's a plumber.
Appreciate that. Yeah, 20 years. That must have been.
I think we spoke about this the other day, actually, didn't we, Lee? It was a conversation that cropped up in one of the groups. No, it's not a 1 hour talk to unscrew. Yeah, I just read that.
Three permits, 2. Mate, you forgot the 2-hour induction to site.
And the paperwork, the 60 pages of paperwork you've got to sign.
I work on HS2. Fuck me. They can't have accidents on HS2 because of the bad publicity. So I've done courses on courses to be able to access. So really, theoretically, I can go to an HS2 site, show my card, and drive straight onto site. That's how it should have flowed. But now you show your card, and then it's a site-specific induction. Then I'm down to per day. So if I go back the following day, I need to do it again just in case something's changed. Then to the site office that's relevant to my whatever I'm doing there. So whatever hire company it is, I do their induction. Then I have to do their permits, and then I have to be driven around to wherever the machine is, escorted while I'm doing the job as well. And if it's working at height, then it's not happening.
And you've got to have a hard hat that has a hard hat that then has a hard hat on it as well, yeah?
I have to have a hard hat with a chin strap.
Why?
I have to wear safety glasses. I have to wear full orange high vis. I have to wear my gloves and my boots as I step out the driver's side of the van.
Sorry, I've got to laugh at one. Synsex. I worked in retail and had kettle training in one store I visited. Kettle training. Yeah.
Health and safety isn't to make things safer, it's just to stop you suing them after. It's all about covering asses, Dan. 100%.
Yeah. We put the rule in place. If you have an accident at work, we'll drag you off site before we call the ambulance.
Oh, Mikey, there's some sites, because of the beard, I shouldn't actually be allowed to work on the sites.
I've had that, especially a lot of food-related sites.
Well, if you get a mask on, a proper mask, it seals to your skin. And you can't, can you?
No.
So my answer is, well, no, it's not the case. When you should be able to provide me with a mask that seals around my neck.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? How do you support religions that require a beard?
Agreed. Or you just breathe the shit in and get over it.
I went on to one site and they were like, "You got a CSCS card?" I said, "This is in my training. There's 2 of us, so I've got the guy that's training me." And I said, "No, don't need one because we're only on site for an hour at a time. We don't do it. You never get asked for it to do one, right?
Was it a data center by any chance?
It was a water thing, but this guy had just come out of college, just finished university, never got his boots dirty, and there was a back patch wearer on that site, and he literally turned around to me and he went, "Mate," "that guy's going to be dead by the end of today." And when I looked at him, I was like, "Oh shit!" Don't think he was joking.
And it ain't going to be a work-related accident.
One of Phil's first jobs had to put out warning signs, warning people of wet floor signs. Fake beard religion, yes. Dust masks and beards. It is a dust mask. You just fold it up.
Yeah. Oh.
What religion are you? Ooh, I worship the beard. There was another site I went on, and Thomas, and there was a mobile platform, cherry picker, and the hose run up the side. And the only way I could access it, was sit on the beam. I was about half a metre in the air. And the health and safety guy come running out. Again, only just come out of uni. And he says, "You can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that." And I went, "Okay, mate, no problem." I went, I can't do your job. I'll pack my stuff up and see you later. And he went, What do you mean?" And I went, "See you later." I went, "But you can't." I said, "But this machine won't move." I went, "So you're going to have to crane it off site." Can we do it this way, that way? And I went, "Nope." I went, "The only way is for me to do." I said, "I've been doing the job a long time, mate." I went, "The only way I can do it is this way." And he went, "Oh, and I went, "When are you going on dinner? And how long is it?" He went, "What?" Well, he went, "I'll go on dinner in about 10 minutes. I'll be back in an hour." I went, "Right." I said, "I'll start this job in 10 minutes. When you come back, it'll be done, and you'll be in the clear with all your health and safety stuff." He just looked at me and he didn't say yes or no. He just fucked off.
I've had a couple of sites like that over the last.
No, Dave, take care, dude.
Good night, Dave. I had one where they had broken the door cam on a trailer at the top, and there was no welding on site. Now, there was no reason for no welding. There was no gas, no wood, no cardboard or anything. It's just the site policy was no welding. So I said to the guy, "How are we going to solve this?" And he goes, "Right, I'll go and have a chat with my manager." So whilst he was going to the manager, ladder up the ladder, Art welded it back together, back down the ladder, everything away. He's come back going, "No, they won't let you weld it." It's like, "It's all right, mate, it's all done now. You're going to have to leave." It's like, "That's fine, I was going anyway." And then
I went on one site, and I ain't going to mention the site or anything, but do you know the little rollers that you can sit on?
Yeah.
I was on one of them, and the hose had burst, and the hose went around the front of the engine, come out the other side. One side to the other. Piece of piss. Cable tie in the middle. I stood on one leg, leant over, and a black hat said, you can't work like that. That's working at height." And I went, "I can't get to that cable tie to cut it unless I stand on one leg." And he went, "We can't, mate." He said, "We've just had this meeting, blah, 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 all the rest of it." I says, "Okay." I said, "No problem." I said, "When you put the vibrate on, it pisses out with hydraulic." He went, "Yeah." I went, "Right." I said, "But when you turn it side to side, when you drive it, no hydraulic comes out, does it?" He went, "No." I went, "Put it in the fucking car park." And he went, "Good idea." Put it in the car park, stood on one leg, cut it off, replaced the hose. Because the car park, to a lot of these places, the health and safety is different to the actual sites.
Which makes no sense, but yeah.
No.
I've been refused access to sites just because I haven't had the right cards. It was a data center. They asked for a CSCS card as well to do it wasn't a tail lift. It was the old beaver tails on transport lorries.
I'll tell you how to get away with that in a minute.
Well, I don't need to worry about it anymore. I'm not doing mobile anymore. But yeah, so it was a wire had come off, and they just needed the wire reattaching, and it was a 4.5 hour argument to whether they'd let me on site or not, just to attach the wire.
I now go and show one of my cards and say, "You need a CSCS card in order to even apply for this one." And they go, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I've lost my CSCS card, but I've got this one. This one I got 2 years ago when I had a CSCS. I had the 6-month one to do that card, and then that's it, job done."
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't worry about it anymore. They don't want me on the site to fix it. They can find someone else to. They can't get anyone else to. They're going to have to break their own rules.
Pretty much how it is.
Oh well. We digress.
I do like the mobile life because van life and just chilling and having your own freedom is just everything. I was saying this to a couple of friends at work. I don't think I could do a normal job now.
Right, my missus is off. Good night, love.
I want to be a loving, supportive partner, but hours is my limit, so good night.
Oh, bless her.
Night. My wife will. I don't even know if she's still watching, but she'll leave me where I am, and then she'll just go put the kids to bed and do all that, and on a Tuesday for me, and she puts up with a lot, which again you'll find out on when we do our life.
No, exactly. We won't spoil it. It's been an active chat.
If there was a positive message you could put out there, Andy, what would it be? Just before we finish, piece of advice.
You will fuck up in your life, no matter what it is. It's just how you recover from it and how you deal with it. At the end of the day, mistakes happen, fuck ups happen. No one's perfect. If you get it wrong, as long as whatever it is still alive at the end of the day, you've done your best.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good bit. That is a good bit.
Because it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you fuck up, as long as you can rectify that fuck up. And it doesn't matter whether it's at work, it's with your kids, it's with your animals, it's with your diet, anything. Even like going to the gym. If you get it wrong, and you stand there at the end of the day and go, well, no one's died, everyone's healthy, I can sort this out, why worry?
I like that. If you fuck up, but not too much. If you don't over fuck it, you're all right.
Yeah. You can read every bit of advice in the world about whatever it is. There are experts in everything in life to tell you how to do things. But with your animals, no book knows your animal. They know your species, but they don't know your animal. Because every fucking animal, whether it be a spider, a beetle, a stick insect, a locust, a millipede, a fucking snake, a lizard, a snail, all reacts differently to everything that comes to it. Because they're individual. And as much as people go, oh, they're not sentient beings to a lot of these things, they've survived longer than most of us, for fuck's sake.
Lee, put them in the fridge. Put the pot in the fridge, and then they slow down their moving rate. And then you get a sling pot and tap the flies into the sling pot while they're still cold. Then you can slowly tap them out into whichever enclosure that you need them in.
Can I make
Just make sure they're really cold.
I've got a better one. Obviously, the fridge thing, great, but you know the old spice pots you get with, so like your Schwartz spice pots?
Yeah.
Then transfer them into that with the clip lid. So you've got a smaller amount in there, and then you've got the little, you can just tap them out of that. So you're tapping fewer at a time.
I cool them down because then they're not running off all over the place.
I do it with locust. I used to do it with locusts. Now that I've got all my locusts in a 3-foot fish tank, it's not easy to pull that down.
And I think when it comes to fruit flies as well, do not, for fuck's sake, do not get any in the house because you are fucked.
Yeah, that's game over.
The thing is, you start looking everywhere to see where these flies are coming from, and they'll actually go down your sinkhole, your bath hole, and they'll breed down there, and then they'll pop out of there, and you're looking for bits of food that's dropped somewhere and all sorts, and they're coming out your sink. It's, as I'm finding out recently, it's a bastard. Tara's used to it because it happens. I do it every now and again let a couple out by mistake, and then it's like, oh shit.
That's the next 6 months over for me.
Yeah, pretty much. I then hang up fruit fly the fruit fly paper. But if you see the odd one flying around, you know the little vacuum cleaners?
Yep.
Hoover them out there.
We've got little pots that we put near the bins with some liquid in it that Nicola buys off of Amazon. And they just gravitate to those.
I would go cool them down, transform them into the spice pot that Andy says, and then go from there.
Yeah. You see, teamwork. It's a dream work.
And then Osmond's just cracked in with the ultimate. Red runner nymphs are not much larger than the fruit flies. Problem solved.
Until you lose them on the floor and you're fucked.
They'll die off. But you need entomological tweezers to get them and then pop them in.
I've got a colony of 1,000 small red runners turned up last week.
Oh, it weren't live foods for you. It was.
I got live food Tamworth.
No, it weren't. No, this is a bad company. I can't remember who it was now. I did a video on it because they sent me some red runners in a box. The box had holes in because it was the summer, and inside the box there was the bag, and they hadn't cable tied it, so it filled up the postman's van with fucking crickets and red runners. The wife brought it in the house, put it on the side, and she didn't know, bless her. So it filled up the fucking house with them as well. Luckily, we don't live in that house anymore. But yeah. Yeah,
no, that's never good. I mean, what I hate is when you get the old cricket that escapes and then you hear chirping.
Bean weevils. Yeah, bean weevils get fucking everywhere.
Bean weevils. That's what I started with inverts with. Because it's what was recommended to me, but yeah.
See, Phil says don't keep fruit beetles if you don't want fruit flies. You see, when you buy inverts, sometimes, and it's some particular sellers, right? And if I'm going to get from this person a couple more times, and if it happens a couple more times, I'm going to speak to them. If it carries on happening, there's a video coming out because it pisses me off. When you buy an animal from a show or anything like that, like an invert, if it's in its little tub, just check for fruit flies, and if there's any in there, just open the lid slightly outside before you come in the home.
Let them out.
And let them out, yeah. And then don't put any of that substrate in with your substrate. Potting composts, open them outside as well.
Oh, those fucking bug gnats. Those gnats are a nightmare.
Yeah.
The other one I hate, the old brain gnats.
Predatory mites can help, but you've got to put them in every single enclosure that you keep even slightly damp. Yeah. Andy, I must say, we are coming up to the time where I need to disappear, unfortunately, my friend.
That's all right.
Our normal lives go like 8 till 10. So we've been on to 11. Yeah, we've gone for it this evening. So I appreciate your time, brother.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to coming over to your channel in July.
Yeah, no, that'd be great fun. I'm looking for that.
So if you're watching
between now. If
you're watching, please pop over and subscribe to Mad Exotics on YouTube as well. Ready for when Andy turns the tables and grills me.
Yeah, it'll be an informal chat. That's the way we go.
And I don't do. If you follow me for a long time, you know I don't really do many interviews. So where I'm the one getting interviewed, and not something I've done a lot of over the years, maybe 2.
Well, this will be number 3. Third time's the charm.
Possible 3. Yeah, we're in what, 8, 9 years.
Well, it shows you obviously like what we're doing over there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, there goes all the links up again.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Osmond's wicked like that.
Thank you, sir.
He is very sportive, man.
Oh,
everybody in the comments, thank you again for coming across and coming and saying hello in the comments. For those that have watched and not commented, thank you for supporting simply by watching. If you could just drop a like before you leave, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, Phil.
You've got punishment, Phil. Oh, thank you, Lee.
In for a penny, in for a pound, isn't it, Phil? But yeah, night, everybody. Take care.
Good night, everyone.